Have you picked all that up, Bronson? No surprise. It's okay. That bloody pointy. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. The bombs are gone. Dirty bombs. And welcome back to part 9 of the Lego Arcade Bartop Pac-Man. In the previous episode, it was a little bit consuming, which we had to make 64 of these dots, and we had to work out. So in part 9, looks like we're coming up to near enough completion of this, but not quite, but won't be far from it. So as all episodes, undo the bag, tip them out. When it comes to the small bags, I leave them in until all the pieces are virtually near enough all gone. So just be careful as you tip them out. You don't want to lose it, just in case small pieces. Cool. And stretch them out, because you know you're going to need some of these bits in there. Now we've got the remaining 2 bags. Good. Oh, if I can open them. Just be careful you open them, guys, because you'll lose bits everywhere. Because you know you're going to need some of these. So I always stand them up next to the safe. Don't tip these out just yet, because you'll have too much on the table and it makes it confusing at the end of the day. So first things first, let's start off with the list of the book, which is this section. Alright, this is part 9. Part 9, bag 9. So let me put put that bag to one side, because otherwise it's going to get in my way and gets frustrating and I can't see anything. So what do we need? So we need a block of 4. One block of 4. Brilliant. Okay. Let me straighten this up so you guys can see. Cool. Alright. One block of 4. That's the only block there is. So you need one of them. One small block of 3. Cool. Small block, one of them. One long one. Yep, okay. And 2 little short black ones, if they're in here. If not, they're going to be in that smaller bag. No, they're going to be in a small bag, aren't they? Of course they're going to be in a small bag. They're not going to be in that bag, because they're the colour, they are jet black. They really are very difficult to see. At the end of the day, no, they're blocks. So, let me have a look on that front. No, we ain't got none in there. Well, where have they gone? Ah, they was actually in there. See what I mean with the colour? This is what I'm saying with the colour side. How many do we need? It just need one. Right, so it's just virtually one of each. Cool. Okay, fair enough. We take the long block and the 1 brick and put it on one side. So just put it on, literally, just put it on one side on that. So it ain't got to lay, it's got to lay sideways into it. Cool. Turn over. Right, we're at page 202. And then we take the block. Oh, hold up a minute. Did it say? Oh, you need a slim block of 3. Yeah, that was me. See, I misread it. I misread half of everything. Well, where's that gone then? That's not in there. I've got 4. I ain't got a 3. Right. Okay, that's interesting. That's not gonna be in here, is it? Clearly not. And it ain't gonna be in there. No, it's got to be in here. It says block of 3. Oh, here it is. It's hiding. Yeah, 1 block of 3. Found it. So we need to put that at its side. So we create a long one, and then take the super long one, and then pull it so it overhangs. Basically, so it's all down one side. Cool. And then we take the small block of 3, put 1 on one side, and then the block of 4, and then it creates a super long one that front. But then you've got one side that's low, one side that's high. Cool. Okay. That then comes in where the grey piece is, so we keep the red at the top because that's what it's saying in the book. Take the long grease, and we need to make sure that overhangs. So it sits and overhangs, which it does. Right? So you can clearly see it overhangs on the bar, so it's not sitting flush. So you can actually see it. Cool. So next part would be 2 small blocks. Now I did see them. They're going to be in here. We need 2 of them. The small block ones. Cool. 2 of the 4s. Now I did see another 4 in there. It was 2. It's saying I need 2. Okay. Oh, for crying out loud. Right, I've got 1. What? Oh, we are. See, again, hiding. The end of the day. 2 of them, and your 2 flat number 4s. And it is. Got 2 of them. Cool. Now, what we need to do with these is take the red side. So what we need to do is flip it upside down so the red side's facing you. Now we need to put 1 of the tall blocks on one corner so it sits flush, and I'll show you. 1 on the other side. So put 1 little cube next to the 4 one, so it looks like you're building it up. And you take the little flat 4, lay it down, lay 1 on the other side, so you've got 1 showing of the red, and it's exactly what you've got. So this is how it sort of lays. So it lays flat, basically. Cool. Okay. I'm leaving it upside down for a minute, just in case. Yeah, because we're still working on it. Cool. So the next thing is another 4 of them cubes. Jesus. So 2, 3. I did see another one. 4 cubes, little ones. And we look like we need, yes, 2 of these, which we should have. We have got 2 of the ones that's got the holes in. Cool. And 4 light greys, which we have, of the bricks with the front sticking out, which we have 4. And again, before we do that, 2 of these have got to go, 1 of these has got to go together, just 1, and that's going to be for the centre piece. So we just need to make that up, which then sits right smack in the centre on that single red one. So now we ain't got no red showing at all at the end of the day. Cool. Now we take 1 remaining corner of 1, put 1 in one corner, 1 in the other, because we're still working on that build up of the front there, and I'm like to make sure these cube pieces are sitting lovely and flush, straight. So we've got this sort of like tower build up. Cool. Now, when it comes to these pieces, this is the smooth side. Obviously, you've got the bits. We want this side going towards the back. And then again, looking at it, these sit snug, right snugly into the other side. so it covers then that brick up, that isolation brick. So this is the way it should be going. Cool, okay. And then we'll take the same remaining bricks and we'll put them the other side, so it's all showing. And I'll show you when it's done. Cool. So we've got this section here. So with now it looks like it's all continuous. So inside will be flat. It'll just be all flat inside. You won't see nothing. It's all flush. Right? Because it's going to be, part of it's going to be covered up, but that piece won't. So there must be a reasons why. So the next part is we need 4 of the 6s. So we've got 4 black 6s. There's 2, 3, 4. Cool. 4 black squares. 2, 3, and we've got 4 black squares. 2 black squares go on top of each other. Okay, we need to do that twice. Cool, okay. So we got like a cube, like a small tall cube. Cool, right, okay. And again with the blacks, the other one, the 6s. 2 of them times 2, it says. Okay, fair enough. So we got a 6 cube, just like 2 tower ones. And what we need to do, these have to go in. Now, which side? Now we need to flip this where the red was back round, so we're now facing the grey side, which you can clearly see the grey side, right? So that's got to be facing towards you. The red's got to be facing away because it's telling you to flip it. Now we need to put these cubes, the 6 ones and the 4s, in a certain location, and I can see where these go already. So on the board, when we first got back to the earlier versions, there's some flat ones there and some grey ones on the side. The towers of the cube ones go onto the grey, which then brings it flush, which it does. And the remaining little 6 of the flat ones, they sit exactly where it needs to be. They need to sit on top of it. And that then raises it and brings it flush, which it does. It now brings it all nice and flush. So the little cubes go in the corner, then one sit, and it's all nice and flush and that. Cool. And the book tells you to do that. Right, so we need 4 of the... Yeah, now right, okay, that's going to be a little bit of a challenge, isn't it? So we need 2 of the little standoff, 4 of the standoff ones here, of these what type. They're tiny. We need 4 of them. 3, 4. And we need 3 of the others, of the 3 ones, which they're in here. 2, 3. Cool. That's why I say don't tip them all out yet. Not just at the moment, because otherwise you'll get too much on it. So we need to put two of the 3s together, so they stand up, because we're still building this board up, remember? And we need to put 2 on the 2 ones, so they're in pairs, which they are. They're now in pairs. We've put them together. You've got 1 single and 1 double, which we're there. They will go on this part of the board. So the 2s, they look like now we need to build this side up. So the 2s will go on to that grey, so you can clearly see where the remaining pellets bits goes. Same with the other side, so we take the other 2, put it that side, yes, it needs to go there, and the double of the 3s need to go right at the back where the red goes. So where we got the 3 remaining coloured pins, so we've got 2 greys and a red, put that on top. If I can pull it in, yeah, that's it, should do. Cool. And where does this last piece go? Well, you didn't need 3, you only needed 2. So that's my mistake again. That was it. We didn't need that one. Okay, fair enough. So the next part we're going to need is 6 of the 2s again. Right, okay, 6 of the 2s. So it looks like we're building this board up now. So it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cool. And three of the threes. Now these ones do have a little hole going through them, basically, the end of it. So we need to make 3 of these up. So we don't put these on top, but we put the other bits on top of it. So we need to put the 2 bits on top of one. Cool. Right, so we've got this design, and we need to do that by 3 times, which we've just done 1. We just need to do another 2. So we do another one of that. 1 more to go, and then that should be it. Hopefully these will then go around the board. So we've got 3 of these. So these are going to be part of coming up to now, which is going to looks like it's going up to this part here. So where we built this up, how's a dog's head got in there? That winds me up, that does. So what we need to do, we now need to build this area up, where it's quite low, where you see all these reds and greys, these will eventually be covered up to build it up, and that's what we need to do at the end of it. So all the reds and greys need to be built up so it's got something to sit on, and this is what we're building. So one side needs to go all the way from this side here, and it will clip in, and it does clip in. Cool. One at the top there. Cool. And one down the other side. Lovely. So now we've covered all that side up. So one long one there, one long one at the top there, and remember the red's got to be facing the back, and then that one going all the way up there. So that one's done. Cool. Next parts, we're getting through quite quickly. Again, another, looks like we've got to go back into the 2s. So we need 3s, yeah, 3 3s. Again, it looks like it's going to be the same thing. At the end of the day, 3 3s, and we need 3 2s. 1, 2, 3, and this time 1 on each side of these, and these ones go under. So just put 1 at one end. Doesn't matter what end it goes up, but as long as you keep them all the same, right? So that's what he's saying. They're all identical, so it don't matter if there's one up one side and one at the other, because you basically flip these over and look, they're all the same. So it doesn't really matter if that one's, because all you got to do is just turn it over and then it all sits the same size. Right, now these will be going up to, let me double check to make sure where we're sitting now. We've done these. It looks like they will sit up here. One will sit there, right, okay, cool. And the others will sit over the remaining 2 greys. So it goes over the existing, what we've just put in. So basically, one goes this side of that long one you just put in, so it covers that hole up. One on that side and one on that side. And that's where they need to go. Cool. So now we need back of the 3 ones again. So again, tip some of these out now because it's getting less of them. And we need 8 of the 3s. So we need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. Now these, we've got to do that 4 times. We need to put 2 of these on top of each other, and we need to do that 4 times. So that's 1, we've got 3 to go. 2, 3, 4, like that. So we just got 4 of these that we just clipped together. Cool, okie dokie. And these need to go along, they need to go along this side here. So we've got 1 going here, 1 going here, 1 going that way, and 1 going that way, because they're only 3s and not 4s. So one's going to have a gap. I assume they are. Yes, they will do. Yes, so we leave that one. Again, I don't know. Again, the angle is not being very helpful. I know the bottom ones do because they're 3 for 3. The other one's 4 for, so, which is not helping. Again, I think they do. I'm going to put them at the top and have a look at the next part because again, it's not being very helpful. Really, Bronson? I mean, yeah, it's nice. Again, it's not really helping me on that front. Let's just double check to see where these are because I've got to make sure these are sitting. Yes, so I was right. Looking at the next part, there is a gap missing in between. So these two they need to go all the way up to the top and not to the bottom because again, we need to leave this area exposed for some reason, and I don't know why at the end of it. But that's what it's just saying at the end of it. But the bits still turn, the ghost still goes around, so it's not a problem. So you can still see the ghost is still turning. Issues. Cool. So the next part is then we need 2 of the little round ones. So in this bag. Cool. We need 4 of the 2s, which again, 1, 2, 3, 4. No days. I got clay. 4 of the 2s, and we need 2 of the 2s. So 2 of the 3s. Sorry. 2 of the 3s, so 2 of the 3s, and that's on that one. Cool. So, same thing again. The 2s go underneath. Doesn't matter what end, because you can reverse them at the end of the day. Once you've got them the same size, that's the same orientation, then we need to take the remaining 2. One then looks like one clips over. One clips one side, one clips the other. So make sure that you've got this look, basically. That's what it does. Make sure you got them in the right orientation. And then the little remaining pin of the little circle clips on it. And then it brings it flush. Because it's finishing off the board. And then, yeah, I was right. One goes one side, one goes the other. So one, you need to insert at one end where it covers the grey up. Because we need to cover all these pins up before we can get the 3D prints for these, for these covers to start going on. And then the reasons why I've done inverted the other one is because one goes the other side, which then is up here at the end of the day, which is cool. Yeah, and it does. So one goes one side, one goes the other side at the end of the day, and it doesn't interfere with all of these. Because the ghosts still go around it, so it's not a problem. Right, that bit there. So what we need then is we've got to make some more up now. Oh God! Right. How many of the 3s? 2 of the 3s again. Okay. We need small bits. 3 of the 2s. And we need 2 of the small pieces as well. So let me double check. And 2 of the small pieces. Lovely. Lovely. Okay, we've got all in bits that we need. And we're doing the same thing again. This time it sits on top, not underneath. So one side goes on one. We take the 3, put it directly in the centre, so it makes it like a T-piece. And then the remaining 2, again, two of the 2s. Oh, 3 of the 3s. 3 of the 2s, sorry. So we need another one. That is literally so bizarre. Hold up. So what have I got? I've got two of the threes. Yeah, and you need 3 of the 2s. So it's 1, 2, 3. Right. Okay. So where do these go? I'm a little bit baffled. So we've got the 3 going across. Hold up a minute then. Oh, right, I see. They go underneath. Right, to extend it. Right, okay. That makes sense. So we've got, I have to think for a minute where these go. And then we put the little pieces at the end. So basically what you need to do is then put the remaining 2 of the 2s, one either side, so it extends these out, and then you put them bits on after. So it looks like it's then one giant T. Right, okay, and where's that going? That is going directly right here of that piece. Because that looks like that will cover it all, and it does. It covers it all. Okay? Again, when it comes to the ghost, it isn't affecting the ghost to go around the board, because the ghost can still go around the board. So, which is cool. So yeah, okay. So that side is now done, and this ghost can still go round. So, oh, he says no. Now that piece has just come off. For crying out loud! Right, it shouldn't do now. No, it doesn't. So the ghost still goes round, which is cool. At the end of it, it's just that, like you said, with these bits. This is why I said make sure they're snug, but don't go too mad, because you've just seen what happens. These then start having issues of thinking, oh, it's jamming up, and you don't want to put pressure and snap that chain, because then you're going to have to contact Lego and say, can you send me out another one? It broke, you know, and they say, well, you're going to have to be careful, otherwise we'll charge you. So that piece is done of the corners. We now need to make on to page 211. We're sort of getting there. Yeah, it's going to take a little while, but it's building these up. Is the the more smaller the pieces are of the build up, the longer it does take, but it does give off that illusion. So we need 2 of the other 2s. No, we've done these ones, haven't we? So we've done this page. So see, that's what I said. Look at what work you've done. So right, page 212. Right, that's more like it. For crying out loud! Be glad when this bit's done, because this was just like that base. Building this up took a lot longer to do it this way, but it's got to be done. And I ain't even come to, like I said, I've not even come to the cog mechanism yet. Because there's a cog mechanism, and that looks complicated as well. So it's really involving. So we need 2 of them, and we need 2 of the 3s. So we shouldn't be no more of them bits in here now, because we're going to need these in a minute, because they look like they go on top to finish the maze off. Because that's what you're doing. You're making a maze up for the Pac-Mans to go round and the ghost. So there's no more bits in here now. I've took the last of them 2 bits out. So need 2 of the 3s, and we're getting less of the other bits in here now as well. So actually I can take them out, it won't hurt, because now there's hardly anything left in them. This is why I say I always take them out. Right, God, Jesus. Right, first things first. Hold up, did that say 4? Yeah, it did, not 2. So 4 of the 3s and 2 of the 2s. Right, okay. Again, same thing. First things first. Hold up, because I've got to look. Because on the picture is telling me 2 different things here at the end of the day. Hello, bud. it's telling me on the picture number 1, and then it says at the bottom you've got to put 2. Hang on a minute, because I'm more confused than ever. So what have I got to follow? The top part or the bottom part? Again, it doesn't say. An house? No. Far from it. No, no, it's not an house. No. It's a Pac-Man arcade. No. Sorry, Jill. I thought it was playing bingo. No, it's a Bartop. It's a Bartop Pac-Man. We've got a light up thing on there. This is why I'm doing it in parts at the end of the day. No, it's actually quite a cool part. I mean, I've done quite a bit at the end of the day. I mean, I finished this bit off. This was involving. You flip a button, because you've got a button at the back, so you just push it, and then it looks like the ghosts. The Pac-Man's chasing the ghost. So this sits on top of the arcade when it's finished. Playing bingo. Yeah, that's actually, yeah. That's, yeah, we're only playing for pennies anyway, so hopefully. How many, hold up, I can't see the messages. I've got all the decals here, look. I ain't put the decals on yet because I've got fingerprints on this like you wouldn't believe. So, what's that? What is it? I know I've been watching over the last few days. Yeah, days. Do you know what? It's been involving and building this 3D maze up of this section, this chain mechanism, and this 3D bit that you're building. This is really involving. I mean, now it looks like the Pac-Man now all goes around lovely, because I haven't done the I've not done the gear mechanism yet, which I am going to get to, and then we've got another piece that goes around the bottom. So yeah, I mean, I'm just getting to the point where I'm going to need to covering this in, but we still need to actually put, you know, I've still got to build this up, because this sits in front. Obviously, this sits in front of this section, because when the bar top's in, this will give you your 3D look. So this is how it's going to go at the end of the day. So the only thing with Lego, it's like all Legos, you've got to be so careful, because even though, like, I've just moved that, and I've it's like all bloody Lego sets, you know. Until it's all structurally put together, that's when it gives it its bond. But without it, it's still quite weak. I mean, it was quite weak without this strut going across there. But do you know what the annoying thing was now? Was when that brick was missing. And that really done it, because now I've had to put a grey in, because obviously there was a part missing. And I was really surprised with Lego, because they normally they calculate everything. Their machines are really good. I mean, I couldn't, and that would have stopped me from building this up. Lucky enough, they always give you parts over, just in case you lose a bit or it pings off. So, I was grateful that I had one black bit, small square, and a grey. And I went, I'll put the grey inside, you're not going to see it, because you've got a back to go on this. So when the back goes on, it'll cover it all up, hopefully. And then, you can take it off, because inside, when you finish building this, you'll have there's some people in a miniature arcade playing the arcade inside the arcade. So yeah, it looks really cool. But I think starting on that was the headache, you know, on that front, because this maze is just absolutely dire. It's not helped me one bit. And the way they put it on this page is not helped at all. Which is, I'll tell you what, it really gets. You could probably get it. You could probably would have done it back in the 80s days when we was young, when you was like in your teenage sort of years. But when you're sort of like 40, 50 plus, your brain's going scrambled. You're thinking, hey, well, where's that supposed to go? And obviously it's a challenge. It definitely is a challenge. So it was a challenge for me on that front. But yeah, so what we need to do is one needs to go over. Oh God, now I'm really confused here, because again, one goes under, yeah, and then one goes, the little brick goes over. Oh, fuck me. Yeah, they've made that confusing. So basically, you need to make a hinge. Oh, well, I was going to say make an hinge system, and it just comes off. So we need to put one in, one over, and one under. So that sort of makes sense. But fuck it, Jesus. Have you tried scanning the Q? Yes, you're going to laugh. That QR code that they give you, right, takes you to a PDF format. And all it does, the QR code that it gives you, once it downloads, it's a few megabytes. All it gives you is what the book tells you. So it's no different. So it doesn't help you at the end of the day. They show you in 3D illustrations as well. Yeah, but it doesn't go in depth. Again, it's a bit like the book. You've got to sometimes think outside the box, because I hate this view. I don't like this view. This view is, you know, why have they done this view? Because that view is not helping you to build it, because, again, it doesn't show you the gaps. I mean, right up here, there's supposed to be a gap, but it looks like it's touching. So you're thinking, well, has that got to touch? Has that got to go all the way up? Then it's throwing all your build out. And that's the trouble, right? You know, I mean, I've done, what? So far, I've done 212 pages. And I've got up to 300 and what? Which I ain't done bad comparing the bloody episodes I've done. I actually finished at 336 pages. And I'm up to 212. So I've still got a little way to go. That's why it's 14 bits on it. But these take... You're not going to do it in 5 minutes, or you think I'm going to get it done in like a cut about 4 or 5 hours. No, you're not, because the book's going to really throw you up. And putting that together, I was racking my brains out trying to say, where the bloody hell does that piece go? It's not helping. It wasn't helping one bit at the end of it. So the Mario, what's that? The Mario. The block that I did, it took, what? Bloody Noah. And that took 8 hours. Wow. Yeah, do you know what? I'm not saying it, you know, Lego does. I mean, even for that, the little, what did that other one take? That took an hour. This one. I've got the Mega Blocks one. Yeah, you've got more bits. Yeah, in total, them bits on that is 2,651 pieces. So that's probably why it says the box actually does say for 18 plus. Now when I bought the Xbox 360, before I took it back, I kept the controller. They said keep it, we don't want it. At the end of the day, that took an hour just to do an Xbox 360, and because it lights up, you can actually see it at the end of it. If I turn the light off, it just lights up. So it sort of like pulsates. So it looks like the Xbox light stays on, basically. But again, same thing, right, on there. It literally, I mean, that took an hour, and that was a nightmare. So it looks like you've got like little joysticks, and I've got a stand for that to sit on. So it looks like you've got the Xbox 360. I mean, it's cool, because it shows off with my Xbox stuff. I would have liked to done the Xbox 360. I spent 10 hours. I got virtually about 60%, and then there was too many pieces missing. I had to take it back. I was absolutely gutted. So I went, and when I checked the forums said exactly the same as what I said. They got to about 60 to 70% away, and after too many bits were missing, and they couldn't complete it. In the end, Mega Blocks retracted it, took it off, so now you couldn't buy it from them. At the end of the day, you can buy them on the internet. I've seen them, but you can buy them already done, because they've had to buy extra parts to finish it off. But that done my head in. I mean, that was even more fiddly than this. So at least with this side, and it takes 2 hours just to fix a real thing. Well, comparing. I did start on my record player. You know that turntable? Did you actually see that one? That I took this piece off, and I'll show you. We was up to the point where I started on the sharp. Actually, I took this off because this had the belts were all snapped, right, on this one, and the black stuff that was out, yeah, it did. So basically, let me put that back. Careful not to damage that. The problem I've run into two issues. Now, when I plugged that in, and I've said to you, what should I start on, the Lego or should I start on the radio? You said the radio. I went, okay, start the radio. It's got to be started on. It probably makes sense because I'm fucking doing this. It's done my head in, to be honest. So when I've done the, that's it, the belt diagram. Well, I've done the belt diagram, put the belt on. Now, all I've done was literally, now I plugged that in, the tape wouldn't work because obviously the belts are disintegrated. It went to like an ink, a black ink. And the belt on the direct drive for the record player had obviously disintegrated. It just completely went to oil. All I've done was I unplugged it. But unplugged it, sorted the tape out. Now I didn't touch nothing else on that, right? And this is what I said to you about these early versions of these being a bit temperamental. It then didn't work. We had only had partial power, and the point that I've managed to get to, and I'll show you where I'm up to, right? I know I'm deviating, but the point where I've got to, I pull this up so you can see it more. Right, I put the record, I've done the tapes. The issue I've got now, it now only partly works. Now, something's gone on here, and when I probed, and I'm going to hate to say this, but it must be Sharp radios at the end of the day. And I've done it probably is, because the other ones are Sharp and all. It seems to be with Sharp. Sharp again, I've done exactly the same with this. Power comes directly to the transformer, to the fuses. Now, for some reason, I probed the orange, the yellow and the red. I've got 15 volts to the yellow. I've got nothing coming out of the red. It's completely dead. It's in millivolts. Now, if that's the case, don't tell me that that is gone faulty. Because if that is, this is dead. I mean, I'm absolutely gutted. I've ordered a belt. I'm going to send it to my friend because he's a specialist in audio equipment. At the end of the day, I'm going to see what he says. So I'm going to put the belt on the drive because I really wanted this working because this has got a lovely sound on it. But being Sharp, again, all I've done was unplugged it. I probed the fuse. Fuses are absolutely fine. These are timed fuses. They're roughly about 1.5 in sort of the time delay. So these are very fast burning fuses. Now it ain't popped, but for some reason it won't work. We did have partial power there to the record player because I could hear the motor spinning, but we had the radio working. But now all I've done was unplugged it, and because I unplugged it and powered it on, for some reason the tape seems to work, but I've got no audio coming out. The radio's not doing nothing, so I plugged everything back in and it's still doing the same thing. So when I probed this area, the red, we're not getting nothing out of the red. I'm just getting millivolts out of the red, and that's not a good sign to get millivolts. When I've done some researching online, these are supposed to be 15.5, which that's what these yellow ones are, right? The 15.5 are coming out the yellow, and the red one was supposed to be 20 volts coming straight out to power the record player. I've got nothing. There's nothing being probed. So, and obviously it can't complete the circuitry again, a bit like the tape, a bit like that radio over there. If it can't complete the circuitry, it won't power the radio, and obviously it's not powering the rest of the power. I mean, this is a stereo amplifier. You can see it's got stereo amplifier, so that's probably like a booster to give it its boost, to give it its it's amplifying for a sound. Because I've got no sound. All I've got is a hum. That's all I've got is a hum. Nothing else coming out, and even that hum is very low because there's obviously not enough voltage going in to power the rest of the board up. I'm just hoping that transformer has just not given up. It probably ain't powered on for so long, and because now I'm powering it up, it's obviously, that surge, because again, transformers will not give you any warning whatsoever. But again, it must be a Sharp thing where they put voltage first after the fuse, which is the stupidest, dumbest idea I've ever heard of. Because again, it's trying to take the voltage, and then what they should have done is put, like, you know, because like I said, I tried to look for a kickback, like a voltage regulator to power up to get the correct. Because like I said, all that's coming out of this is going into it is 20 volts. So all that needs to power up is 20. I probably can if I put, but if that has gone 40, I'm going to give it to the old boy. It'll charge me about 20 quid. It'll tell me roughly what's wrong with it, if it's worth fixing. If it's not, I might have to do a modification on this, where I might have to go through, do away with that, and put 20 volts straight in to the timed fuses, because all it needs is 20. It's about 21 volts, just under 21 volts. 21 volts will power all of this up. That's annoying that was working and then it decided to stop. When I took, all I've done was unplug the record player, and there's some clips. The clips are right here, and you can clearly see the issues that I've got. All I've done was unplugged it. That's where the record player sits, on these clips, and I didn't do nothing more. And as soon as I've done that, it wouldn't have it. It literally only got partly power, and I'll show you. It's not lying, but for some reason, so it's just decided to pack up and just say it's not going to work no more. I'm afraid to say. But the tape deck seems to work, but we've got no sound coming out, none at all. So I'll put the tape in. I'm going to power this up, because there's no lights on this, none. Right, but there, look. So I'm going to switch it on. The tape plays, and it works lovely. So we fast forward, it's all electronic. Stop it, play, works lovely. But I've got no sound, and the radio is not doing nothing. So I cleaned all of this up with some contact cleaner. That's all I used, was WD contact cleaner. I didn't. It tells you not to use IPA, not on these resisting bits, and they because their contacts are a bit temperamental. I could have used Oxidic, but then that means I'd have to strip it down and clean it. I've put that on. The tape deck seems to work all right now, because that was a 4-belt system. Not a 3-belt, it's a 4-belt system. Replaced all the belts, because I had a big pack of belts. I just didn't have one, which I've ordered the original belt for this, and I managed to get the belt for just under £10 for the belt in the UK. That's coming, but look, that's switched on, right? You can clearly see I've got the plug on, right? And I'll show you the issue that I've got. And the issue looks like it's coming from the transformer. And I had to do this off camera because I had to do a bit of researching, and I think, no, I found out what the voltage is on these, which these are 20.5. So 21 volts will be enough to power all this up, because these are probed at 15. That red one should be 20, and I'm getting, it's in millivolts, and that's not good. So let me zero it and I can show you. Right, you guys can clearly see it's zeroed out. I'm going to probe the black on the black. Right, it's switched on. I'm going to have to be careful here. Right, and I'll show you it's still working. You can hear it. Right, so I'm going to probe the probe on the black, and I'm going to probe. There's 2 reds. I'll do the top one white and probe it. We got 15.6. Right, yellow 15.6, 15.65, yellow 15.65. Now watch the red. This is where the problem is. Millivolts. And I've poked that all the way in. I'm getting nothing on the red. The red is completely dead. We've got nothing out. And that's where my problem is. There's nothing else that's gone on this board. I checked all the fuses. Fuse is fine. Absolutely fine. So, which is a shame, because I'll switch it off and I'll show you. If I put it on to continuity, can't do it while it's in circuit. Touch. I'm going to probe one end on one, and every single one of these fuses, if it bleeps, it's fine. 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 So that wire goes directly into that transformer. Right, even check these 2, absolutely fine. The issue, again, sharp, bad design, and I reckon partial of that, I reckon partial of that transformer is gone without knowing. The old boy's got, he's got an oscilloscope that goes into depth, and he can do some testing. It's worth the 20 quid just to diagnose it, and he'll tell me. If he tells me what I already know, then what I'll have to do was then try to inject 15 on one, right? I'll have to get, obviously, I've got to look into it. I'll ask the old boy, because he'll tell me what roughly to get round the system, because you can get round it, because I've done it on the Sharp other radio. So this won't be a dead course, but this will be a comeback. But I will still need to put the belt on first, because as soon as I solve this, right, at the end of the day, if this is gone, like I said, if that's gone kaput, it's game over. For that, I won't be, because, and I've looked, you can't buy these again. The transformers, you just don't sell them. So what I'll have to do is take it off from, because these lift off, they're only on the clip anyway. So I'll obviously ground it out, put 20 volts in, 20.5 volts in onto where the red one goes. That will then create the rest of some of this where it's the stereo amplifier. Obviously, this is where all this here, and it makes sense because this is the power board that will give you your amplification for your radio and your cassette, and also the record player that sits on. Because once this record player sits in here, that's the idea, these big springs, it compresses, so everything sits in. So this board is the most important, because again, if you look at the circuitry, a bit like the other Sharp radio, right, power goes in, goes through the board, through the amplifier, and look, it goes straight out into the secondary board. So that's the idea of the fuse. The fuses, if there is a problem, it was supposed to pop the fuses. But if that goes, which that is partly gone, I think that's partly gone, because there's no voltage coming out of the red, and there's supposed to be 20 volts coming out. That 20 volts that goes in, then goes through the fuses, then powers these caps up, and the remaining little capacitors and resistors. That's why nothing on any of these devices will take on there. So I would say nothing's blown. I reckon that I'm going to put about a £5 bet that has gone partly, because it ain't been used for a long time. I reckon exactly. But now this one, obviously you can't put it in 110 volts. But again, these transformers, they say that they don't. When I've done some researching, they said the transformers are really good, and they are pretty bulletproof, but I'm not getting no voltage coming out of that. I probed it, you just see 15 on the white, 15.65 on the white, 15 on the yellows, 15.65 on the yellows, nothing on the red. That red was supposed to kick out about 20.5 volts. That's it. That's all there is. So it's two reds. So all I need to do is just get the 20 volts in, basically. Because of that, it's obviously sharing the power. So all I basically do is just make sure it's over 20 volts. So if I put it about 21 volts, that would be more than enough to power these up. Basically, put power straight in, and then power it directly from this side, because it's still going into the fuse system. Because that's all these are, but 250 goes into that. It sort of talks to the thing. But you see how I've done it, because I've done it through on the other Sharp radio. But it's such a shame that all I've done was unplugged it. I didn't short anything out. I made sure the plug was turned off. I was super careful. But because I thought, oh, okay, great, let's plug the speakers in. Let's plug. All I've done was took the back of the cassette off, put the new belts on. No, after that it decided it is partially getting 15 volts in, but only 15 volts. Some of these components need the 20 volts to feed the other board. Obviously for the record player, because now the record player is completely dead because there's no 20 volts. And again, it needs the stereo amplifier. That 15 volts is not enough to power it. Obviously it needs a bit more power to power that up. That's why it's got to go through all these capacitors to give it its charge, to give it what it needs. I'm gutted, so I'm stumped on that front, but I'm going to put the belt on, put it all back together, give it to the old boy and see what he says. But if he does tell me what I think I know, it looks like that's going to be the culprit. Again, Sharp. it looks like it's just a sharp thing, and it's a shame because, like I said, there's nothing that I've plugged it in wrong, because if you have a look at the back, there's no 110, there's nothing on here, so it goes straight in. But it must be one of these things where it's sharp to decide to thinking, oh well, you know, I mean, you know, by the other sharp components that especially the other radio that I had to do the conversion on. And I've been using that little radio. I use it out in the kitchen. It's got a lovely sound on it, but that's on a different matter altogether. But isn't that a shame that it's got to that stage, and now I can't, you know, even once I put that belt on, I won't be able to. It won't. Now there's not enough voltage on it to power the record player up on it. But it's annoying, I think, because it's not being used, and this is what I'm saying about vintage stuff. If you don't use it and it sits around, this is what happens with vintage stuff. You'll use it, and all of a sudden, the surge of that 250 volts coming in, and all of a sudden it's now thinking, no, we're not having none of that. At the end of the day, you need to fry something. And if it first thing, like all these sharp components, they seem to put the power, the voltage transformer first. You can't get a buck converter. I looked into this buck converter business. The most they do, right, is 24 volts. They don't do it any bigger than that on the buck converter. And so you can't put 240. They do an AC to AC, but an AC to AC converter all the way down, but the fucking size of the unit is massive. It's like that, and it's like nearly £200. Because it has to take the full load at 240, but that's AC to AC. That's out of the question. It's not the end of the world, because it looks like if that has gone partly faulty, and that transformer, and I think it has, because you just see me probe it. I've got nothing on the red. There was, you know, and I made sure that was probed all the way in. At the end of it, no, it made no difference. It literally, I think that's completely. I think part of it's dead. Half of it's not working at the end of the day. So if that is the case, and the old boy says no, the transformer's gone, I won't muck about it. I'll then start to do a conversion of looking at. I need to find a transformer, a power supply with a built-in transformer, govern it down to probably roughly around about 2 amps. Because that's what they normally give off, about 2 to 3 amps on these, especially on that. Probably I would go close to about minimum of 2 onwards. So I won't go anywhere like a 1 amp. It's not obviously not going to be enough ampage, because again the power, as soon as you start cranking it up, it does draw power, which we proved that on the little cassette, you know, of the cassette player. And it'd be the same with that. It's just that I can do, but it will be on a bigger scale, so I'll have to look for a larger power supply. Where the other one was only 9 volts, I'll have to look for something that's at least 21 volts, minimum of 20. I can't go too high, because obviously the power, you don't want to send too much power into it, but roughly around about 21 volts will power that up. So it won't be the worst of it, but it's annoying to think, again, transformers, you know, they're saying they're bulletproof. That's not the case, and I'm just really gutted, because again, I went out my way to pay for that, and I'll, you know, but again, it's not the end of it. I can probably get round it, but I'll have to do it the same way as what I've done with the other sharp radio. Take the transformer out, desolder it from the board, and make up a separate way of putting a barrel jack connector in to put 21 volts in. So, because remember, as soon as you're using 21 volts, you're going through its own transformer, so it won't need a transformer because you're using their transformer, because nothing on that board will take 250 volts. That's the idea of the transformer. It just governs it down, and you see it proved it. A big radio like that, part of it was 15 volts, 15.65 volts at the end of the day. So it won't need high power to power that up, which is a good thing. You know, it's not going to be a high voltage thing on that front. I'll just have to make sure I get the correct power on that front, and I had to do that off camera, because I was pretty gutted on that front, but not the end of it. if the worst comes to it, I'll have to do what I did, and I will do the same thing again, and I'll get that back up and running. But I just want to confirm it's worth £20 to give it to me mate. He's got all the specialist equipment, and let him probe it, and then he'll tell me, if, you know, he could say, yeah, you're right, it is the transformer, it's not outputting to that, and then I can ask his opinion. How, you know, if I use 20 volts or 21 volts, would that be safe if I go, and I'll tell him the way that I normally, and normally he's pretty good, he'll say, yeah, that's fine. You just got to make sure you get the right polarity. Don't reverse the polarity at the end of the day, because he said you do the damage. But I've done the other radio, so all that is just on a bigger scale, which I'm pretty gutted, to be honest. But I'm going to wait first until I get the belt. The belt needs to go on to that direct drive, because I had to take all that apart. And I'll tell you the reasons why I say it took me ages. The last 4 days, right, I had to take that platter off, right, and that platter was a nightmare. And I'll show you quickly before starting this. The platter that was giving me the headache, right, I was still getting glue off this, the black tar. When I took this off, the issue that I had, you have to be careful because there's a spindle going through this. So I had to take the individual, let me take that, I had to take these individual 4 out, took that in, then I had to undo the screw, right, then flip this, and I had to be careful because I nearly bent a pin up onto the motor, because this is the motor that actually drives, right, at the end of the day, because it's, but all around that wheel, all around this wheel, that belt had disintegrated so much, it had smeared, and I was just getting covered, absolutely covered, with like black tar. It literally was terrible. So what I've done, I had to take all this off, and this is why I say that I have to be careful, because you've got all components on here. So I didn't shorten nothing out, so I know I didn't do nothing wrong, but it's just decided, the transformer just decided, thinking, I'm not going to output your 20 volts, what you need, at the end of the day. So, which I was pretty gutted. So once I took all this off, this plate then had to come off. The plate has to tilt and go to one side, and then I could get all that platter out. I had to take all of this off just to get to that platter, to take that out, and then there's a big Jubilee clip thing which you just springs on. I took that off, and then all that come out, and it smeared everywhere. That belt had disintegrated. It even got inside, and I went in the mess. It was all over me. It was over me top. It's all over me carpet. IPA just about shifted it. That was the nastiest. Never ever underestimate leaving a belt. You're thinking, oh, that'd be easy to clean up. No, I was still getting it on my hands. Everything I was touching, it was just like black ink. But now I've put it all back, I now know where this goes. I've put a new belt on here. This belt was obviously on this side. I put a brand new belt on here. Now this is the right tension. It was all loose. I haven't put no fresh grease, silicone grease on this yet, which I will do once I've done the belt. Because the belt has got to go round onto this side underneath, which I can't get to once I put this on. But all that's got to come off to get to the belt system again. Pain in the bum, but now I know where it is. I know now it all goes together. And again, you've got to be careful because you've got a cylinder up here, and this is the solenoid that clicks to turn it to flip the radio, the record, the arm to the other side. So this is important. So again, you have to make sure there's a little guiding mechanism there. But again, now I've watched and now I know how this goes together, it actually makes sense. But I'm just more gutted. There's the reasons why dealing with vintage stuff, this is the only downside. If you touch it, for any reasons, I mean, it had to be opened up, because how are you supposed to get to the belt? I had to take this off to get to the belt system. There's no way you can do that inside. So it had to be unplugged. But all I've done was unplugged it. That's all I've done. Unplugged it, plugged it in to make sure it's all working, because it would still work without the record. So why wasn't that outputting that 20 volts? That, I reckon that transformer decided to say, no, sorry, packed up, it's not working. at the end of the day. I mean, it's like I said, it's not, just to power a big thing like this up, all you need is about 21 volts. Which is not, you'd think you need a lot more voltage in that. No, you don't. I've already looked into it. You don't need that at the end of it. So it's not a problem. So, pretty gutted that it's got to that point. And I am pretty gutted, to be honest, because again, looking at some of this vintage stuff, I love all the vintage gear. And, but unfortunately, when I looked, I thought, oh, I don't believe it. It's a sharp. I've realised it's a sharp. It's gone exactly the same way as the radio. The epoxy transformer looks like it's not outputting at the end of the day. And we've got some voltage, because you can clearly see it's just not enough voltage to power the rest up, like the amplifier and the record player. The radio, you can't get nothing. The radio just goes dead, because there's not enough voltage going in. So obviously it needs that extra 5 volts going in. So 21 volts would be more than enough to power that up. You won't want to go any too high on it, because again, don't start cranking it up to about 25, 30 at the end of it. But I'd stick to about 21. I always try to go. I always try and keep the minimum spec, because you can always step it up a little bit and not go too mad. But at least I have now got to hunt around for a 21 volt sort of, about a 2 amp transformer, like a plug. I can always cut the end off, because it's got to be hardwired in anyway. But I've got to wire it to a barrel jack connector, so I can actually just plug it in and out, because that's wired directly from 240 coming straight in. So I'll have to do it like the same way I've done for the radio at the end of it, which is a shame, because like you said, I've got to take all that. If that transformer has gone bad, then I've got to now take the transformer out, desolder it, which that's not a problem, but I can't get the transformers, because you can't get them for love or money. So that's where I'm at the moment with the Sharp radio. So that will be an upcoming video, but I'll have to confirm it first, just in case there ain't another component that's gone inside it. And and that's really sort of like involving. I really want that working, but he'll confirm it if that is the case, right? I'll pull it all back once I put the new belt on, and then he can probe it. Let him, because he's really good at what he does, and he'll just confirm of what I've just said. And if that is, it's not the problem, because then I'll have to say, right, I know what the problem is. Then it is 100%. I'm right on that front, and see, and then I can disconnect because that's going to have to come out no matter what. So the transformer then will have to be desoldered from the board, and then I've got something to go into the board then, and it'll just, because it'll have its own transformer from the output side, so I won't need to put that inside on the actual thing itself. So yeah, that's going to be fun trying to work that one out. But at least hopefully I can get that back up and running, because again, that would be nice to listen to. I want to leave that one out in the kitchen, so I can then just plug my record in, put my record, because it'll play both sides of the record. That's why I wanted it. And I've got a load of LPs, all my 80s stuff. So yeah, I'm pretty gutted about that, but hey, can't be helped. It's one of them things at the end of the day. Oh, good news that I managed to sell one of me items on eBay that I've done a previous video. Raised £87 for charity. So yeah, I was pretty pleased with that. What was it? I think it was the mixer, the Behringer mixer I sold at the end of the day. So yeah, that's gone off, and the money's gone off to charity. So that's good. I'm quite grateful for that. So my other items are on there. They're all waiting to be sold. So, and I've priced them up reasonably. I ain't gone too mad, So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that front. But yeah, with that, I'm pretty gutted, to be honest, because all you do is unplug things and they stop working after, But Andy, yeah, you did make me laugh when you said with Andy, but then this is what repairs do at the end of the day. This is why I don't really dabble into modern electrics. I'd rather go into retro electrics, because I know it's still electric at the end of the day. Modern electric stuff, we see in modern electrics all day long, like toasters, TVs at the end of the day. And you're going to find most of them have logic chips on boards and things like that. I mean, look at that TV Andy was doing, was a prime example. At the end of it, it wouldn't turn on. It turned on for a split second and turned off. Now, that was throwing like an error code. Now, what I've learned with them boards, like with all the modern TVs, they have a logic chip. The logic chip tells the LED and the driver chip, right? So you have a driver board and a driver chip on the board, and then you have the logic, the brains of it. And if what happens is, the reasons why, what I got told by the old boy was that when it tries to drive, and that's why it says, hence the name, when it tries to drive the voltage, what it needs, because LEDs are low powered, you can get them up to 20 to 36 volts at the end of the day, but they need 240 to go in for the electronics, for it to, to give it its thing on it. But what tends to happen is, if one of them LEDs start to burn out or develop an issue, or it's intermittent, it then goes back to the logic chip and it says, no, there's a problem. And as soon as that logic chip then controls the rest of that board. So if that means if there's a power related issue, which there is, the TV turns on and turns off. It will not stay on, because it's due to the logic chip preventing it from being switched on. Now you can do a partly bypass, but you need an oscilloscope and you need to know what you're probing at the end. And he said 9 out of 10, it's not worth fixing. He said because them flat TVs of these type of TVs, they're cheap. He said because trying to buy a screen or LED, he said it costs more to actually buy them, and he's right. And he said you can't just use any LED to power it up, and it needs to be in parallel. They have to be in pairs, and there has to be the correct voltage for it to tell that logic chip to turn on. I did want to try and tell Andy that, but he gave up. But I didn't want to really put all that into text, because that would have just took too long to explain. So that's what I got told. And this old boy's been doing it since 1970. So he knows his stuff, and he's really good when it comes to electronics. And he don't do YouTube videos. He's just old school. So that's why in the community, so that's where that's going to him, because he'll tell me just to confirm, yeah, you're right, there's no voltage on coming out from the transformer, and he will give me the best advice to go from there. And I think I already know the advice, but I just want to confirm it. It's worth £20 just to confirm it, just in case that there ain't another issue on the board, because when I did Google it, they said the power supplies to them are bulletproof. He said they very rarely go down. He said, but they sometimes, occasionally, can. But it's not. He said, but they are normally bulletproof on that front. But this one, it's not giving me hope. So I'm probably part of that not bulletproof system where I've probed it. There's no 20 volts going in, coming out of it. It's just completely dead. It's millivolts. Millivolts is not enough. That's not going to be no voltage at all. So you've got to have at least 15 volts or 20 volts coming out. I mean, 3 of them is. Hello, bud. Thank you for joining. So, yeah. Let me continue where we left off on this. So, what we need to do... So, yeah, that will be a future video coming back to the Sharp radio. So, I'm going to have to do a conversion on that. I'm going to have to start digging out transformers. And then we're going to have to start probing to see if we can bring that back to life at the end of the day. I can't see why not, because that's exactly what I did to the other Sharp radio, and I've been using it every day. It's been fine. At the end of it, it's back on my shelf, onto my thing, and it works lovely now. So if the worst comes to it, I'll go down that route. At least it won't be a dead course at the end of it. So yeah. So let's get back to the Lego, because this is part of part 8. Is this the Lego arcade machine? It sure is, buddy. It is. let me show you. It is. It is this one here. It is the Pac-Man Lego Bartop, basically. 2,651 pieces. Batteries included. Which is a thing of it. And now I've already done, as I explained on the previous episodes, I've already done this section. I've got up to here. This is part 8 because I'm doing it in parts. I've already made the front. I've not put no decals on yet because I've got all the decals here, right, to put on the side. But I'll do that after I cleaned it because it's a bloody fingerprint magnet to put all your fingerprints at the end of the day. I ain't put no joystick on yet because I'm doing the 3D maze of the Pac-Man. So we've got up to, oh, and I've done, where is it? And I've also done this. So you've got the button at the back and you press it and it spins round. So this sits on top of the bar top, which is cool. So that's all done. So yeah, that's what I've ended up getting back to. But this maze is nearly finished now, and it's took forever. But getting to that point is frustrating because again the book's not telling me otherwise. Where do these bloody bits need to go? So I'm a little bit stumped on that front, a little bit, because the book, when you look at the book, we do our live streams in builds, in parts, also building like Goonies. Oh, the Goonies set. Oh, I bet that's cool. That'd be great. I'd like to see that. Did they do a Back to the Future one? Because that'd look great on my retro store, because all my retro stuff is over here, right? And that's where it's all going to be sitting, right next to me arcade bar top. And I've got another bar top there, but it's a Neo Geo little miniature. And that's all made out of the plastics at the side. But I want to put the Lego above. I might want to put it underneath, so I want to need to rejiggle this around at the end of the day, and that's what I'm building this for. So, you know, that would look great because I've got all my other retro stuff sitting on top. But if the arcade, I might be able to move some of my games at the top and sit this at the top, because this will look cool with all my other games, like me Amiga stuff and all the Ataris and me the other bits and pieces. So yeah, this is another reasons why. But the Goonies one looked cool. Yeah, they're coming out with a new spread Champions deal. Oh right. Oh, I'll have to have a look out for that. Because again, that looked cool. Because the Goonies, great film. Absolutely, I love the Goonies. That was classic. Anything to do with the classic 80s, I'm up there because it fits right in my ballpark of what I love. Of all the retro stuff. This is the reasons why. The only issue that I'm having, yeah, we bought the bigger one and used it on Facebook Marketplace. Nice. But the only issue I'm having is this bloody book is giving me an headache because it's not being very helpful. And when I downloaded the QR code, all it does, it just gives you the same bloody thing in PDF format, but in digital. So it's no different than the book. Which is frustrating because it doesn't really give you that much guidance and you're trying to work it out. And as it is, I had one piece missing on there. Absolutely. It's my favourite movie ever. Never Say Die. So yeah, this is the reasons why I'm doing it in parts. Because just in case if someone decides, because I got this in a sale. Argos was selling this in a sale and it was great. So I grabbed it while it was in a sale. What is your favourite set in the collection? In when it comes to Lego? Oh, there's a couple. I'm also looking at the Millennium Falcon at the end of it. They had an AT&T. Looks great because it's all to do with the Star Wars. The Death Star. The Death Star's out my price range. It's over £1,000 for the Death Star. And I did want to try and look for a Starship Enterprise. That would have been cool. It would have been nice if they would have got the NCC 1701, which is the very first, Star Trek, it's sort of like ship. But I did want to try and look for Captain Janeway's one, which was a later model. Now, I did see one, but it didn't have no price. And again, it would have looked great with all my retro stuff at the end of it. I mean, some of the retro toys I've got, I've got a load of retro toys up there at the end of the day. But I would have liked to seen it in Lego. This looks cool, but it's not the easiest. I mean, I had issues with the chain. The chain was obviously, it was telling you how to put all the chain together. I had to take 3 links out, and then putting this chain in, you have to be careful not to break it. Fucking Jesus. I mean, I was pulling me out at some point. So, yeah, there's a couple, but I'd like to see that Goonies one. I bet that looks, if you leave a link in the description, if you're on the Discord, can add you in. I'd upload a picture. Yeah, I watched mostly the Star Trek Next Generation and Voyager. See, they was my only 2 favourites. I mean, I'm not being funny. Captain Kirk was all right, the original, in like the early 60s to 70s versions, but it was just something about, Captain Pickle and all the others, and Janeway. I think that was the only 2. I mean, I've only watched 1 season yet of Picard, because I've been too busy doing some other stuff. So, all I've been doing is showing off all my retro stuff, on some of my toys, because most all the stuff I got is all mid 1980s. And you don't get to see this lovely stuff no more. It's all disappeared at the end of it. I want to create a second channel and do like, I've got a capture card, and I can then sort of go up that way and then upload like my BBC Micro. That's beautiful. I've restored that to 100%. It looks like brand new. It looks like it's just come off the press at the end of the day. I love working on that because I grew up with them BBC Micros, and you don't get to see them things no more on that. And to 5.1 fully working, my one's been modded, like all my stuff. It looks stock, but I mean, like my Amiga 500, there's a GoTech inside it at the end of the day. I've got a GoTech inside because the drives fail at the end of it. And then Amigas, you can't buy the drives from. You buy them with faults. They've always got problems. Like everything. I've got 3 Atari STs, got 2 520 and 2 1040 FTSM. So one of them's got an issue. It looks like a RAM problem, but I haven't got round to fixing that yet because I've been doing other projects. So I was saying earlier on that I did start on the Mega Bloks on a Xbox 360 on these ones. Kept the controller. Got about 70% of the way of the Xbox 360, and I'm afraid to say too many bits missing. I had to take it back and get a refund. The only issue that I've had with this Lego, I've had 1 piece missing. Literally 1 piece. It didn't hold me up because Lego do give you spare bricks. Lucky enough, they do give you some spare ones. You'll always have 1 or 2 bits or some bits. I know why they do it, because these parts are so tiny they ping off. Go in your carpet, you can't hoover them up or you've missed them. Yeah, retro toys are cool. Do you collect the Hot Wheels? Any of the Hot Wheels? No. That's one thing I haven't got. The only thing I've got is it's made by I think it's up here. Let me show you. This is my original 1970s. This is made by, oh God, this is old. This is Paramount, made in England. It's a dinky. Dinky? D-I-K-Y. So it's original, 1970s, is it? It does say 1975. 76. 1976. At the end of the day. It's the original Enterprise. And you're not going to believe this. This is made out of die cast. This is not plastic. Dinky back in the early 60s to the early 70s. Wood-made die cast stuff. There. This one obviously has discs it fires out from at the end of the day. You're not going to believe this. Because I work in a charity shop, someone threw that in a bin. Threw it in a bin. because you had the discs, and then basically you loaded it up, fired it round, and then that's it. You loaded it, and then it used to ping. Dinky makes all Lego characters encrypted now. Oh, do they? Wow. But again, try to get something like this, the original NCC Enterprise 1701. That's what I really wanted into a Lego. This would have looked cool in Lego. Because again, Captain Kirk did the very first star and then the thing on it. But no, they don't make them. Which is a bit of a missed opportunity, because I would have liked to have seen that. I've got loads of stuff like that. I could make a channel just all day long showing off of, you know, looking at the parts and some of this gear. But this is why I need to, you know, do this Lego set. So I want to put this Lego set onto display so I can put it up there. I've got the original 1980s Rubik's Cube on that front, which is also, and it is the original Rubik's Cube. You can clearly see, right, on that front. I didn't take this apart, right. Believe it or not, there's now an AI app, and it tells you, it scans the sides through your camera, and it tells you move by move how to do it. Because I forgot how to do these many years ago. At the end of the name, and that's the original 1980. I've had that since I was a kid. It says Rubik's Cube written on it. Still works. So yeah, I'm the original. But any of the kids' toy stuff, yeah. I mean, still got me Speak and Spell. That's in the cupboard. I've got a Cabbage Patch Kid from the mid-90s. I've also got Furbies from the early 80s. There's a Tamagotchi, that was a mid-90s one. At the end there. No, that's all right. No, it's fine. Don't. No, that's the trouble. I'll get carried away myself, because I'll get, you know, like all this stuff. You get a passion for it, and I do get a passion for it. Yeah. I can just go on all day long. That's what I said. I'm in a fortunate situation where most of this stuff, that because I work in a charity shop, most of this was all donations. So, you know, I've got some of me Back to the Future. There's some of the ones in a show. Is some of these, which is, I've got some of the Back to the Future. This is what come in. I paid £1.50. You know, literally £1.50 for that. I need to put that in a frame. And I paid £2 for, and you can clearly see, you know, £2 for Back to the Future, all sealed. Didn't pay a lot for them. This is why I end up getting half the bits that I've got, because obviously where I work, I'm in a fortunate situation where this stuff comes in 24/7. So whatever comes, and that's without all the consoles. I've got stacks of the Xbox 360s. I've lost count. I stopped counting after 20. At the end of the day, I've got a stack of, there's Xbox 360s. There's a couple of PlayStation 4s on there. There's Xbox One S. There's an Xbox One S. I've got an Xbox One X. Not a series. These are the ones. That one's sitting over there. What else comes in? I've got PlayStation 2s, PS1s. There's a couple of Dreamcasts. There's a couple of GameCubes, PS3s. I think I've got more. But again, some of these have been tested, but a lot of them, I mean, I'm selling one job lot off because they've got some problems at the end of it. But I'm letting the old lot go for about £70 for the old lot, and there's about eight or nine consoles there. They just need sort. I ain't got time to sort them out. At the end of the day, I'll just get this stuff in 24/7. So, you know, whatever comes in, it goes straight out. And most of the money that I sell now just goes to charity, because I don't need it. So I'll just get the money, just goes to charity. I've just sold a lovely Behringer mixer that I've done live, tested it because it wasn't tested. I just sold it for, I got £87. It went to the children's charity. So yeah, great. I was quite happy with that. So I was quite happy on that front, and they was happy. I got a thank you at the end of the day. So yeah, there is some other items on there. There's a Nintendo. There is a Nintendo. What is it? Switch 2, brand new in a box. At the end of the day, I've got that up for 400. At the end of the day, I'll probably take about 380 for it. I know how much they're worth. At the end of the day, about 380. Brand new. Literally, it's not even been opened. It's still in the box, and that's. I put the box over there, but it's brand new in a box. Yeah, I modded a GBA special for a few years ago, and the ISP screen and a new shield and flash card. Nice. Yeah, because I've got, like I said, I've got some of them little handheld ones, which is obviously I've got. Let me show you. I'll show you what I've got. Take that one, that one, that one, and I'll take some of these and some of these. The ones that I've ended up having at the end of the day, and I'll show you. These are only some, right? And I've got loads of these at the end of the day. So, Sony PSP, there's a Game Boy Advance at the end of the day. Some of these I've done some soft mods on. Now, this one, oh God, look at the dust. It goes to show it's been sitting up there for so long. This one, the Sony PSP, the one, I think this is the 2000 or the 3000. It's not the 1000, it's the 2000 or the 3000. I put a mod on this. I've modded it. What I've done, I put a mod chip in, and now it's got all custom firmware on it. No, the battery's dead. It's been sitting up. Oh, it just sits on display. I don't use it. So yeah, that's got custom firmware. Flash the firmware on that one. I've got loads of these DS lights on that front. Original 1990s afterburner at the end of the day on that one. These are rare. You don't get to see these toys. These you won't. I won't leave batteries in things because they just leak and go everywhere. I've got a Game Boy Advance. That one's got. I was going to do a clean mod on that one, on that front. Look, I even left the bloody game in that one and all. And again, Game Boy. I've got a Game Boy Advance. I didn't even know if this one worked. It'd been sitting up on my shelf for about 5-6 months. I put batteries in, tried it on the live stream, works lovely. The sound's a bit low, but they're not great on these things anyway. I mean, that's only some of this stuff. I could just keep dragging it out. I could spend 4 to 5 hours, keep dragging this stuff out and showing you some of this gear. And I've got boxes. I get stuff like this near enough every other day. In the end, I just say I can't take no more because I can't move in my front room as it is. My bedroom's full up, and my balcony, and my cupboards. Because, like I said, I've got nowhere to put it at the end of it. You know, so yeah, it's a shame because, like I said, it's nice to have them shown. But that's what I said. So yeah, it is nice to have these bits and pieces. Yeah, you should do an episode just at the chill that you can show and tell. Yeah, well that's why I bought a capture card. I bought an Elgato capture card, paid £110 for the capture card. It's a nice capture card. It's an Elgato one, really fancy. But I've got to get the leads because it's only HDMI only. So what I need to do, I need to buy a conversion box, which I have got one conversion box. I bought this one down here, and it's got a power. I bought a HDMI. It was only a cheapie, but HDMI to Phono Connect on the front, but the only downside is I'm getting video. I'm not getting no bloody audio. So I wanted the box has gone faulty on that front. I know how to put power in, but it works fine if you put like HDMI to HDMI. It works lovely. But when I'm trying, I want to show off some of the retro stuff, and I want to show it through a capture so you can get to see the true side. My BBC Micro. I've got every single game that come out for it, and the community from Discord. Actually, there's a BBC community, and I didn't know there was a BBC community. They're still writing code for it. They're still writing games for the BBC Micro, and you can download it for free. And I could show that off and show it saying, but I've got every single game that it's got anyway. At the end of it, which is a shame. I mean, yesterday I only just got me Tetris watch. I mean, this is an original. This is made by what is it? My Play Watch, right? They're American. They're not in the UK. These are in America. At the end of the day, and you know, and you can like just alter all your your fronts, and then you can play Tetris, right, on the actual watch, which is really nice because I do like it. But they're not cheap. These end up being shy of over £100 just for a watch at the end of it. But these are limited edition. You can only get these through the back. You know, when you go through backers, and you sort of like, you know, like you can help them out to actually help them develop. And that's how I got the watch. But I bought two. I've got one on eBay at the moment. So I've got one up for 120. And I think that's what I paid, give or take, with all the fees. So, and there's none on eBay for sale, because you try and look for one, you can't even buy them in the UK. And they are a really lovely watch. And I've got a couple of these. I've got my Atari 2600 one as well, because I'm a big watch fan. But again, all to do with the mid-1980s, and early, mainly the 80s, because I'm more of an 80s fan at the end of the day. But yeah, I've got loads. That's without my Spectrum stuff. I ain't even started on that. I've got a stack of Spectrum stuff. I've even more partly modded that. So I've done some modifications on the mods on that. So I've got a tape recorder mod for that. And that's without my Commodore 64. You know, on that, I've done a lovely mod on that. And I retro brightened it. That looks really nice. So I put a custom LED on that at the end of it, and now it's got a reset button, because the Commodore's never had a reset button. Yeah, you should strike me as a Rolex submariner. No, not really. No, because I'm more of a retro person. Because I grew up with it. When once you've been, you get classed as a Gen X. Once you start reaching 50 plus, you know, people, you know, are not really into it. But I've gone more into the retro stuff back in now than I did back when I was working at Woolworths back in the early days. So, you know, it's like I said, any of this type of gear, I can't get enough. I mean, you know, yesterday I've got a lovely little radio comes in, but I plugged it in. I don't know if it works, but it's a really nice little radio. Again, classic. And I plugged it in. Yeah, she works. She actually works. Bit grubby, bit rusty, but do you know what? Actually, I plugged it in. The tape still works, and the radio works, and it's got a lovely sound. But it's going to be a future video, because I'm going to strip this down, put it in the ultrasonic, clean it all up, so it brings it up like new at the end of the day. On that front. But yeah, absolutely. It's the same with this. Like I said, I've got an original switch. I've got a switch 1 and a switch 2, right? All brand new. Right, literally all this type of stuff. I've got a big box of characters in it. What are they doing in here? I don't even know where they come from. Right, big box of Mario characters. Zelda, Breath of the Wild. Probably not even been played. No, it's still in there. Right, at the end of the day, brand new, and it is brand new in the box. Switch 2 on this front. I don't think it still might even be sealed up. It's been sitting in there for the last, what, 5 months? 4 months? It's got to be. And then, right, you can tell the condition in this is, no, ain't been opened up. It's still brand new in the box, look, and didn't bother taking it out. So, yeah, got all the stuff inside it. Look, got all the dock and everything and the charges. Do you know what, I ain't even powered that up. That's the first time it's seen daylight in a few months, I reckon. It's on eBay, it's up for sale. I don't want it at the end of the day. And the money I'll get on this goes to charity. So, that's where most all the others are going. I've got another one, brand new in a box, and it's an OLED. Brand new OLED, sitting in here. Bung it in with a game. Yeah, it sits on there. But yeah, there's a couple of bits. Like I said, I could drag stuff out. I could do literally hours of just dragging bits out, just showing. It's not that I'm boast off. It's just that I've got more passionate for retro than I ever have done. I mean, I like watching Andy stuff because I like watching him struggle on that front trying to do electrics because he's trying to do modern stuff. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't touch the modern stuff because that's all you see. If you look, it's like when I used to build computers. I've built a lovely machine and it's sitting behind me, right? With the rest of the remaining of me retro stuff, right? I've got a lovely machine that I built on there, and it's water cooled. I've done a water cooled machine on that front, and that machine so far I've got a GTX. GTX 4080. It's an i9 9900 Pro. I know it's an old generation. It's a ninth gen. There's 13 generations out. Still got good specs. I've overclocked that. So boost clock on that is now coming up to about 5.2, 5.3 overclock. And I'm getting there's about 64 gigs of RAM in that, more than enough to play games. And if anything, it keeps up well. Put it this way, I was playing Arc Raiders on the server bash, and I was running everything in 4K at 60 frames, and it was flawless. I tried it on my big 85-inch TV, and I managed to push 4K at 120 frames, and it dropped it down to about 90 frames. Literally, just under 90 frames, about 87 at 120 frames a second. It's impressive. So like I said, it's how you build them at the end of it. And I built that from the ground up. It's a good machine. But I now want to look into building a better machine. I'm going to wait till January. I've been told that I want to go, that's Intel. I'll probably want to go down an AMD route, and I'm going to look at Ryzen. I was going to look at the Ryzen 9800 X3D. Good chip. It's about 460, 470 quid for the chip. It's about average price. It's a good price. The 9900, the 9950 X3D, which is the top of the range, and that chip is about £780. You might be able to get it for about £750, push or shove. But it only uses one side of the cores. It's great for multi-streaming if you're doing editing and all that, but it's not good for gaming. So to look for an alternative, the best one to go for is the 9700 X3D, which is an alternative. It's it's like the equivalent of an i7 instead of the i9, but it gives off the same performance. It's got 16 cores, 32 threads, where the other one is 16 cores, 8 threads. So, but it's the way it does its CUDA cores. It's got new technology and it pushes it to its boundary. It's got this new X3D thing out, and then what it does, it unlocks and it gives this base clock on that. I think it was 4.8, and boost clock was 5.2. I probably would overclock that, probably get up to about 5.3, 5.4, but you'll have to do what I've done on that, water cool it with a radiator, and then if you're overclocking, but you've got to be careful, you don't want to overvolt it because you'll take the voltage out. So there's a couple, but they're saying in January they are bringing out another model, which is going to be like, it's going to unlock all of the cores, like of the new that. But I'm waiting, so that's why I'm not building another build at the minute. But I wasn't doing streaming back then, so now I'm doing streaming. I've got most of me, settled up. I'll probably we'll do a live stream and do a live build at the end of it. And but yeah, because I know Joey does tech. He started getting into doing computers now. I started doing other bits. He's doing graphics cards at the end of it. But he's fixed one. That was pure luck that he fixed it. But they are not, I wouldn't touch them because they have multiple tiny components that are what they call nanoscale, and you need a magnifying glass. They are so small, they're smaller than a grain of sand, some of the parts, and they are designed that they can't be replaced, and they put them mostly now on graphics cards all around near the GPU, so that's why they do it. So they stop you from repairing it. So if that goes, it kills the GPU. It's married to the board. So this is reasons why modern electrics are more harder to repair, and this is what Andy's now coming up against, because 9 out of 10 everything he's doing, he's coming up with modern stuff. Modern stuff now is all done by microchips. All this stuff that I'm working with is literally, I'm not saying it has got microchips in, but it's the early stuff, and this is what I'm saying. It's easier to diagnose, it's easier to repair. Not everything is repairable, but he's got to that point. That's why he always ends up coming up against a problem, because this is why I don't touch them. It's not worth repairing. To be honest, it's not. It's not worth, for what it's going to cost. Your time and effort and trying to learn to if you're trying to learn to do repairs in electrics, even from an expert's point of view, they're just saying it's quicker just to scrap it, go and buy another one at the end of the day. And you're right, it is. It's like a kettle. If you're trying to repair a kettle, why are you wasting your time to repair a kettle? It's cheaper to go and buy another one. Throw it away. You're just wasting your time and energy. It might not be repaired at the end of the day, because most of these things just pack up, you know. So, and they all have these modern microchips in, and these modern microchips can't be replaced. You know, that's why they're doing them. They're manufactured on the chip. They're like a Timu. You know, they are done for a cheap reason. So that's why Andy always will have an issue of trying to come up to try and get them repaired. You know, you might be lucky, you might be able to repair 1 or 2 bits at the end of the day, you know, but it's at your depth. You know, when it comes to electrics, it's not easy to repair. And I've come across that, but at least I have managed to I tried to look for an alternative, a bypass to get round it. You know, it's not easy to do, but you can do it, and I've proved that you can do it. And I'm not an expert. I'm still learning when it comes to electrics at the end of the day. Which you'll never stop learning, because, you know, we all got to start from somewhere, but I know more than the average person. I'm not like a novice and at the end of it. But, you know, anyone else would have thrown them old radios, sharp radios out. They would have said, nah, I ain't bothered. You know, but now I've saved that from going to the electronic waste. All for the same. And it looks like now, the same with that bloody radio. It's a shame that that's died. You know, part of that transformer's not working, and I'm gutted. But I'm not going to write it off yet, because I know that I've done the radio previous, and it's made by the same company. So if that transformer is dead, I've done a bit of homework on it, and it looks like 20 volts needs to go in. Get it up to about 21 volts, that'd be enough to power all that up. And I bet I'm right, that if that is the case, then okay, I'll solder it and put 21 volts in. Just try and find a power supply with a transformer that's got 21 volts out. And then I can try and rig something up just to get it working again. And if it is, then I can come up with the same idea as what I've done with that. Put it through a barrel jack connector, solder it to the board, and then go through that way. And I think that might be my best alternative. And that's probably the route I'm going to go down. As long as it goes through a fuse, I don't care. It needs to be directly to a fuse system, so I know that I've got some protection. And we've got plenty of fuses on there, so I don't think that's going to be the problem. So, yeah, I would say, you know, like I said, coming up to watching some of this gear is great at the end of it. But yeah, if you on the Discord on that front, try and upload I'd like to see the Goonies in Lego. You know, the ass, because that was an old. It looked like an old like a barn ass, wasn't it? It was all old. They bullet holes in it, because it was a great film, the Goonies. Always. And the other one, I think, again, one of my all-time favourites was Flight of the Navigator. Again, classic. On that mid-80s, on that front. But yeah, I was saying anything like that would be great. What's your eBay name, Jill? I'll put it in. Are you actually on Andy's Discord? Because what I do, I'll add it on Andy's Discord. I'll put a link in, and I'll just add it into there. Andy don't mind. I'll put it in. I'll put a link. Someone asked me before. I put a link in here. Didn't say nothing. At the end of the day, I'm still getting round to getting used to all of this stuff, because the trouble with this, because I'm old school. My old school, we never had none of this, so I'm still trying to catch up of building this, and using OBS is a bit of a challenge for me because I never had programs like this. All I had was Yahoo on the old chat things, and it was all done through the web page. Now you've got to go through Skype and all that. I mean, it's easier with the WhatsApp at the end of the day. So, and I love the WhatsApp because it's just a lot more simpler to use. But yeah, I'll put it in Andy's Discord. I'll put a link on there if you want to have a look. I'm always uploading. I mean, I've uploaded quite a few bits of that front, but I've got two eBay page listings of stuff at the end of the day, and you know, but all that money, everything I earn, it just goes to. I'll just give it to charity. You know what I normally do. eBay send me the money, and then I'll take that money, put it in to a separate fund, and then that fund, then I'll just write them a check, and then that check then gets sent off. So most of it, I've so far, money's gone to the Donkey Sanctuary, Dogs Trust, Cancer Research, Children's Cancer Research, St Francis Hospice. Oh God, I've lost count. What was the other one that I was working before, previous? Oh, I don't know. There's another charity shop. I forgot. It was, Havens Hospice. The other one, Sue Ryder. There was one that I sold for, I sold a lovely tape deck system. I raised £211 and it went to the British Art Foundation. Yeah, it goes off to multiple devices. I don't take care of it. It goes into what I do, because my boss works for, she works for Sue Ryder, not Sue Ryder, St Francis Hospice. She's got a trustee, she's got an accountant, and they deal with it when it goes where the money goes, because she deals with charities as well. And I've got my certificate, so which I was really proud at the end of the day. And goes to show, I'm coming up to my 10 years soon. So I've got my St Francis Hospice Long-Term Achievement Award, basically, and a thank you for what I've done for helping out in the community and raising money. And that's what it says. This certificate is proudly awarded to my name in recognising in the 7 years of voluntary service of St Francis Hospice, value member of the retail team, and raising funds for furniture and other foundations. Congratulations and thank you. And that's what it means. It's actually really good. So I'm still doing it. This is what I get in return. So what the hospice do at the end of it, because we're not allowed to sell it at the end of the day, it helps them out and it helps me out. So what they then do, they give me all their broken items that all comes in, or they ain't got time to sort it all out. They dump it all on me, and then whatever I raise, it goes back to them. It goes to other funds. So, yeah, and it makes great content, but as you can see, I'm absolutely swamped under. I've got record players I've not even looked at. I've got 3 vintage record players, and they are beautiful. I've got a 1950s, 60s and 70s. They've got no sound. They work, but they've got no sound. So I assume that the power amp's gone in it at the end of the day, the op amp. They have a thing called an op amp on them circuitries, and if they're like a little booster chip, because they're all done by the preamp side, and normally 9 out of 10 they just burn out, they just go. And it looks like these ones, I haven't got round to even doing that. They've been sitting up there for the last 7 months at the end of the day. I haven't got round to fixing him yet, because I'm still trying to get round to all this audio stuff. And what am I doing? Still buying bloody more of it. But I bought that for myself. That's why I bought that record player, that linear one. I bought that because that was not only cheap, it was up in Hertfordshire. I had to go and pick that up. So it took me about an hour and a half. And yeah, it was great. It was really, really great. So yeah, actually, not only do I do a good deed, but I'll get good content out of it as well. So, you know, so to me, it's a win-win all round. You know, I'll get some cool bits, because some bits I'm allowed to keep. I have to ask permission first, but I don't just keep it. I'll put a small donation in, so because I know where it's going. So at the end of the day, and it does. Most of all this money is going to what they call end-of-life patient care for people suffering, going through cancer, and that's their end of life patient stuff. So the money for the money they're raising, it all goes to the nurses and the doctors that they need. You know, while they're going through it. So yeah, it is a really good cause. So most all my stuff, that's where it all goes. That's why I don't really, you know, to be honest, it's really good. And like I said, the amount of cool bits that I've got, fine, I can show it off and let someone else have the joy out of it, and I'm raising money at the same time, and it helps them all out. So, but this is nothing to do with that side. This is my own personal side that I deal with. So this comes out my own pocket at the end of the day. But I'd rather wait until it's in a sale, because I said that arcade was, I think this build was about 153. Retail price of these fetch about 180. They're just under £200, I think these are on that. So 151 is actually 153. I think it's a good buy. So I thought, yeah, I'll get that. I thought that's really cool, because Lego's expensive and it holds value. It holds value very well. So yeah, so getting back to on this front, I've got to find where this bloody piece goes, because they're telling me to put it as an L, but I don't know. Oh no, they're at it again downstairs. Do you know what? They're like bleeding. That's the only thing living in a flat. It's embarrassing. Do you know what? Last what was it? Last month, right? We had, because I live in a flat, we had the fire brigade come in, local. They had to do an inspection. Since Greenfield Tower, of the thing on it, they had to do an inspection. Now, the London Fire Brigade had to come out, right, and do an inspection on all the flats. And because I'm in a flat, first floor flat, there's only one floor at the end of it. Downstairs, they're a new couple, and they're always going at it, right? And it's not that it's none of my business what other people do, but where she screams and she's so loud. Now, my floor is made out of concrete, right? It's not wood or anything like that. It's a concrete building, and it's, you know, it's really. But where she screams so loud, I can actually hear it echoing through the concrete. And the downside was the day where they was at it, the fire brigade come out, the London Fire Brigade come out, and I couldn't help it. I had the windows open. They was all, where she was screaming, they was all laughing, because her window was right next to the door, and I was so embarrassed at the end of the day. I see the fire chief had to walk away at the end of the hour, but all these mates were laughing, like the other blokes were laughing at it, and I went, do you know what? You know, I know that it's, you know, it's doing it behind closed doors, but keep your noise down because of other people. But I really felt embarrassed for the London Fire Brigade, because the chief wasn't, he didn't look impressed. So I've just listened again. She's at it again. Just a few minutes ago, that's what I said. What was that noise? It was her downstairs. I thought, oh no, oh God, that's not good, is it? You know, at the end of the day. But yeah, I was really surprised with that. Now he says on there that I've got to make this L bracket up, right? Sorry, that puts me right. That just make me laugh. Now I've got to turn this round, because I've got a long one on. I've got a very short one. Now, is that got to go? Yes. See, I don't know where this is. See, I don't understand this, because looking at this, it's, see, it says on there, on the book, right? I know. See, I'm not making it up. Seriously, I'm not making it up. You couldn't make it up if you said it. Well, it is really embarrassing, because sometimes when I have the window open, even people walking past can actually hear it at the end of the day. And, you know, and I went, blimey, I know she gets excited, but, you know, just keep the noise down or something, you know. And, but people look, do you know what does it? They look up at my bloody window and they think it's coming from here. It ain't me. You know, it's just me and a dog. Yeah, ain't me. It's her downstairs. It's her that gets excited. It's not me. So they look up and I have to hide. Sometimes I have to shut my blinds because people look up and think it's me. It's coming from my house, from my flat. I went, no, far from it. I say, my house is not like a brothel. so she has all these blokes in. It's her. So I'm not. That's entirely up to her what she does with her business. But blimey, just keep your noise down. It's literally. But it did make me laugh. I got to admit. Seriously, especially with that fire chief, he had to walk away. That was really. I was quite embarrassed for him. Really, his mates were all laughing and thought it was hilarious. At the end of the day, she's screaming like a donkey, and the next minute the chief's walking away. So I thought, oh God, quick! That you want to hide and just duck in a corner somewhere, and you're thinking, no, this is not good. So yeah, unbelievable on that front. But hang on, because I'm now confused. I'm more confused now than ever. So yeah, getting back to the previous on that front. So I've got the 2 on there, and so it says 4, right? So right, it says you need 2 or 3. Oh my God, seriously. The things that it's never a dull moment around here. Never a dull moment. It's just some people. They're obviously not bothered about keeping noises. Porkies. Yeah, definitely. The trouble is, you feel like I might have to put earbuds in when she screams like a donkey, thinking at the end of the day, last thing I do. But she's a bit of a goer. She seems a bit of a goer that she wants to have a go at everyone by the sound of it. Oh, here's the other one that I made. So the 2 got right. Okay, so I've cried out loud. That does make me laugh. Seriously. I've never seen anything like it. This is the reasons why, when I'm doing a live stream, think, no, hang on a minute, I've got to try and mute the noise at the end of it. And I'm in a bloody flat, and you shouldn't be listening to noises like that, because I don't end up saying, hang on a minute, my content gets flagged for copyright or something due to like sexual noises coming from your property. Well, it ain't me, it's her downstairs. At the end of the day, so I'm not saying it's me. But yeah. Right. But this is a bit confusing, right? Because I'm a little bit. Oh look, bloody dog's ears. So put in. So what have we got to put in? 3. The 3 ones going at the one end. Is that going at one end? Shall I call you Mister? Yeah, shall I call you Mister? Right, one goes in one at the one end, and one goes in at the other. So I'm getting distracted. Seriously. That's why my streams end up probably. I don't get many people come on my stream, but I do get a laugh. And at the end of the day, if you can't laugh, you end up crying. So I've got to go 1 and 1. Right, so that's it. That's how I've done it. Right, okay, cool. So I've got to make an L, and it covers this in. That did make me laugh, I've got to admit. I can hear the couple of them people coming onto the stream. Oh God, yeah, they probably get monetised or something, saying sorry, due to the nature we can't allow this stream to go on. Oh God, I've got to upgrade that iMac at some point. I've got an iMac up here. Look, right. Someone threw that iMac out. Right, they dumped it. It didn't have no power. Right, they threw it. There's a woman over the road. She threw it out. I said, "Does the computer work?" She went, "No, it's dead." I went, "Is that okay to take it?" She went, "Yeah, take it." So I was quite happy. Took it in. These iMacs, they've got a common problem with these. At the end of the day, the connectors at the back tend to go a bit faulty. Right, where they got like a special brand adapter that they sit in. If they don't sit all the way in, the edges on them, then they go tarnished, so they end up being oxidised. So if you push it in, it's not going to make a connection. I had a look, put it straight under the microscope, and straight away I went, that's got a faulty connector. I didn't muck about it. I had one that already had in bits in the bedroom. Took the port of that one off, swapped it over, powered it up. I'm still using it today. So it's a simple fix at the end of it. But they end up being really simple to work on. But I want to do an upgrade. I want to put an SSD in it on that one, a faster drive. Because I'll just use that for, that's great for video editing and photo editing. That's why a lot of the places you go to, they do use the IMAX, but that's I think that's about a 2019 version at the end of the day. I think it's got Sonoma on it. I'm pretty sure. I don't know what one it's got. Yeah, it can't be upgraded no more. I can force it, because I'm pretty whiz around computers. I can force the latest operating system on it. It's not supposed to go on. It's not an iMac Pro. You can do it with an iMac Pro, but you can't do it with a normal iMac. But if you know what I know over the years, I can force it and think it's an iMac Pro, and it will force the latest operating system. The only downside is it will run it in generic drivers and won't see the NVIDIA drivers because it's got an NVIDIA card in. At the end, that's no AMD. If that is a NVIDIA driver, I could probably get around it. But the AMD drivers are not supported. That's why it puts it in a generic driver, and that's why they run slow and janky at the end of it. But I can put the latest operating system on if I wanted to, but I'm not going to because I know what it's like. So we've done, yeah. So yeah, we've done that. I've done that piece anyway. I'm getting bloody sidetracked with her downstairs because she's, I just heard a few minutes ago she was painting, and I thought, oh my god. Right, so I have to. I need 4 of them, and what's I need? 2 of the other bricks and small. What? 4 of the small ones. Jesus. Have we got any? Yeah, we have. Oh, that's all right. We're coming up to the last because I'm building this up, gradually getting there. So we need to put 2 blocks on 2. Jeez. The time, we'll put it this way, the time I finish this build, I think I'm going to age another 10 years. I probably will. So I've got to build this side up, part of this side by the looks of it. So what do I need? These got to go, yes, they got to go. So we've got a flush side and an inlet side. So the inlet side's got to go at one end, which it does. And then I'll put the bricks on one. So basically, the way I've done it on there, you can't see it. So basically, they've got to, because it's so bloody black, innit? I mean, I don't know what they've got done lately. So you might be able to see if I put this second light on. So the hollow side's got to go towards the red bit. I always say that, it just makes it a lot easier at the end of it. And the brick goes, the twin brick that I've just put together, these 2 bits, and made a tower at the end of it. Now it looks like the same thing again, right? I need to make an end piece up so it's like a cube, and put these together. Oh god, hold up, where's that got to go? No, one goes one side, one goes the other. Oh, I see. Right. Interesting. So I've got to put one of these at the end. So I've got to do both sides. We're building a side up, which is cool. Okay. So I'll put one long hollow brick. So the hollow bit's inside, so you can't see it. So it's all flush. And the small brick on one of them goes on the other bit, and then the corner. So you've got like a little slit opening on the side there, which you can see. So I need to now do the other side exactly the same as what I've done. Long piece, short piece, long piece, and then brick from the inside, which we have. So I've now put all that up. So I've put all that up and all that side, and it's the same with that side, because you've got to do it in parallel, apparently. So, right, fair enough. 4. Enough using these blocks up. 4 of these, 3, 4, and again, they look like they've got to go. Look how black these are though. I mean, this is the only thing with this. They've used. I think back in the 80s, Lego wasn't used as dark as this. I don't think they did. And they didn't have black. Am I right in saying Lego didn't have black parts in? I don't think they did. You know, they was always greys and reds, and you know, they did have white at one point. I did remember white, like white parts in there, but they never had things like. I don't know if they had beiges in the 80s. I can't remember because when I forgot what I had. I think I had a race car in the Lego, and then my granddad got me a Meccano set, and then I started having in the Meccano set because Meccano was all made out of metal. Now they are collectors. I've not seen one yet come into the charity shop, but I'm keeping my eyes peeled because I work there. If one comes in, I will definitely be buying it. So, you know, at the end of it. But yeah, Meccano, great, because again, it's mechanical. Anything mechanical, like this is mechanical, because again, it's not like a chess set or you're putting a puzzle together. You are physically getting something out of it. You know, besides your fingers, you know, or your eyes going squinted after bloody. You know, my neck was giving me aggro. I felt like hunchback the other night because I was I was so hunched over and I cracked on with this, and my bloody neck. I had a big lump in my neck. I felt like a turkey. I thought, Jesus. I thought no. I thought, right, that's it. This is going to be the last part. And at the end of the day, so what I've done on here. Have we got to leave that one part? Oh God, we haven't all. So I've done that wrong. See, again. That side, it doesn't help. Right, so what you've got to do, you've got to leave a gap. But again, picture doesn't help. If you look at the book, and I'm up to this page, right, it's not showing you, even when you look, you have to really look to think that you've got to leave a gap at the end of it. It's not the easiest to try and do. This is what the book does. Now, they've got to be facing inwards with each other, and I've got to do the same the other side. So one at one side of that brick, leave a gap, and then feed the other side. Right, cool. Oh, I know why. Because if you look, now, it looks like where the Pac-Man can go in. If you remember on the map, the Pac-Man could go at the end, it can go off the map and come in at the other side. So that's probably why they've done it. Makes sense. At the end of it, it's probably why they've done that. But right, okay. Now we need 6 of the tall towers. 3, 4, 5. See, I've got hardly any bits left now. I've still got a bag of these left yet, because I think these go on last. But again, this is going to be the last of the map. So it's getting more complex now, this map, because now I've built all this bloody map up, and I'm thinking, Jesus, where's these bits go? Hang on a minute. I ain't even got a clue where these go. And again, the highlight of this, I'm now on page, what am I page on? 215. So they give you the highlights of these yellows. But, well, yeah, but it's not being great, it's not being very helpful where these are actually going. And this is the trouble that I'm up against. You know, because now I need to have a look and thinking, no, hang on, where's that gone? Oh, you need 4 of them as well. So you don't just need 6 of these, you need 4. So the last remaining 4, and they look like they go at the sides at the end of it. So 1 at that side, 1 at the other side. Oh God, it's not even going in, is it? No, it is, that's me. Okay. And then we need a brick going in. Cool. And then do we need, yeah, we need 1 going out like that way, 1 going the other way. That's if, oh, now what have I just knocked off? Oh great, yeah, thought so. That's the power. I've got to be careful here because that was one of the power things. Yeah, look, how's that getting there? Like, looks like a bit of straw. I don't even know, it might have come off that box actually, come to think about it. Coming to, hold up. So we've done, oh God, hold up a minute, now I'm confused. So I've done that piece going in, that piece has got, is that going? Oh God. How are you supposed to get in there? It's alright if you've got kids' fingers. What if you've got big chipolata fingers? You know, and then you can't get your finger. If you've got big fat sausage hands, you're not going to get them in. Yes, so one goes once. Oh, I see. So we're making a little in curve bit, and we've got to do the same again. Right, I'll show you in a minute. I think that makes sense. One in and one that side. That's it. So what I've done, one goes in one side there and then goes up, and then you repeat it. So again, it looks like you've got like a cutout, so on both sides. So dog's ears. Right, I don't even know where that's come from. I ain't got a clue. Right, anyway, that bit's done. So it looks like now I'm finishing the front. Now we're going to start. Now it's going to start taking shape of looking. We're going to need these pieces now. Christ, look at that. Oh, there's over 60 odd pieces there. I know that's going to take a while, but it does look cool now. I've got to admit. 12. I'm not going to count these out because I'm just going to take. Oh no, perhaps you. Are they small? No, there's small and long ones in here. Alright, I'll wing it. 12 for the small ones. So, small one up the top. Small one up there. I've got a small one, as James says. Long one at the top. Cool. Then back to the small ones. I just find it's easier. I need to add some sound effects in. I like the ones where whose stream was that on the other night? The one that cracks me up because he was on there and he was, oh bloody hell. He's in Canada. I forgot his stream. He cracks me up. I like his stream. It does make me laugh. You'll probably know his name. He's on Discord on the front of there. So, but yeah, he must have like a sound effects things that he puts on. Alright, so I'm putting these on by the sides. No, I've got to leave with the corner ones. They go in the corner. Cool. Okay. Yeah, this is easier to do it this way, and in that way, I'll just put the small pieces in. It actually looks quite nice now, because look, it now gives off like a neon blue, which that's what I like. I like this, like their neon signs. It's like my sign. I've got a proper neon sign of Back to the Arcade, and that lights up, and it's beautiful. Gives off a really lovely glow. That was really expensive. That had to come from America. At the end of the day, one got broke in transit, unfortunately, and it wasn't down to me. It was down to the transit driver, which they wasn't very happy. They said, we'll send you another one out, which I did. I did get another one, so it was pretty good. So, long ones against the short ones. Cool. And the short ones. So, it now looks like that. So, you can see what he's saying. It gives off. I wonder if, you know what, this will look cool. And I have got loads on there. I've got some LED lights, right? I've got a pack of LEDs. Where are they? Buried somewhere, I bet. I bought a pack of them. No, that's not them. Yeah, I think these on. No, that's not them. That's for Xbox 360s. Oh, I have got some because I know I've got some in here. No, they're fuses. I've got some LED lights. I know I bloody bought some LED lights, some coloured ones, right? And what I could do, I probably will, because that can be on the next build, because I'll probably come back to this. I'm going to light these up, right, and poke through and put them on what they call a P9 battery, right? I'll rig it on a little, if I put it on a little, rewire it down to a button, I can actually use one of the buttons as a little clicker button. Like I've got plenty of arcade stuff there for my arcade stuff, And what I could do, I could put it on a little clicky button. So as soon as you press it, it puts power to the P9 battery, and lights up the little the things on it. I might actually do that. I'll have to see how many LEDs I can light up. But that again, this will finish that off really nice. So I might do a custom LED job on this, because this is going to be on display. This might be a future build that I can come back to at the front of it. So yeah, I'm going to. I think I might give that a go and see how I get on. It looks actually quite cool. Right, so the small ones. So that looks like a T. Yeah. So what you been up to? Anything interesting? D, long one. Is it Andy ain't been on? He don't stream on Saturdays, does he? I don't think he does. On Andy on that front, I didn't see him on there. He's always doing the donor boards, isn't he? He's on the donor fronts of the switches at the end of it. I think that's it. Yeah, that is. I've done. So this first quarter R is now finished. Now I've got to continue down on the next page. So I've finished all these off. So long ones, short ones. It's self-explanatory, because you can see where the long ones are on that front. But you can use that as like a reference, so you know where they roughly go. But looking at the board, it's just putting them small pieces together. That's what does it. Anyway, now we need to continue where we left off from the bottom part, going all the way down. So this looks like this is now nearly finished. The next part will probably be in part, what's this, part 8? Is it part 8 or part 9? I can't remember. I think it's part 9. I think in the, that will probably be cog system, and that's quite complex to build at the end of the day. But yeah, interesting. Right, it did make me laugh with her, Dennis. She was, and we got druggies over the road. Yeah, she's an episode. She's always got the police over there. I mean, you know, it's like it's literally like an episode of EastEnders round here. You know, which I don't watch EastEnders. The last time I watched EastEnders is when Angie and Den. That was in the mid-80s. That was it. After that, I lost interest. I didn't bother watching it. Like I said, I don't own a TV licence anymore. I ain't owned one for well over 10 years. So I don't bother. You know, for what I use it for, I get more entertainment through my internet and doing streaming at the end of it. And I find this much more better, where you're saving yourself money. Bloody dogs, yes. Saving yourself money on that front. So it looks, and you get better entertainment. Definitely get a laugh. I guarantee you get a laugh. So bloody hell! I'll tell you what, that is quite a lot. Put ones on the corners. Yeah, as long as you don't put the long ones, the short ones where the long ones are, and vice versa. So just keep following it until it tells you. I'm doing the bottom part now, which we now need a long part, which we do. That then runs parallel to the top part, so I know that is them facing each other, and then continue. But the bloody fingerprints, this is a fingerprint magnet, 100%. You know, at the end of it. So, we're coming up to, oh, no, wrong piece. In, that's lovely. That's, we've got to go corner, nice. Corner, small piece. No, we need another. Yes, so another small piece on that one. Nice. And we need another nice long piece on there. Piece on that one. Oh. Because there's a mechanism that's got to go in the centre. So I've noticed the middle's not been made up yet. So I suppose in that that'll probably be in the next part. So long pieces all go on the number 3s. Yeah, they do. So we want that long piece goes on there. Short pieces go on that one. It looks nice. I've got to admit, I love that blue. It really pops with the colour. It really does give that a lovely sort of look. Bloody TV keeps coming up. Do you want to turn off? No, I don't. Bugger off. Right. One on that front. We're nearly done. Cool. I'm going to show you what I've done. And that's what annoys me with Lego bricks. Is just that sometimes they look skewed, offset, and I don't like that. It really puts me off. So, 2 on that one. Look at that. So she is now all put together, and look how cool that looks. I like the look of that. Let me have a look. How did you get the connected? How did you get connected to the hospice so you could sell old tech and help them with the charity? Please, Jill. What it was back in the days. I mean, I've been working here close enough, coming up to nearly 10 years now. And what it was, they don't do it for everyone. You have to be a long-term service partner with working alongside charities. And I'm registered as a charity organiser. Basically, so I deal with, in the community, this is how you build up in the community. You start off as a volunteer, and then the longer you work with the volunteers, then they start looking at your skills at the end of the day, and then they take it from there. And this is how the hospice and other charities class me as an organiser of. Now they give me their broken items at the end of the day, because they don't. The companies they use, what it is, the companies that any broken items that they get, right, they have to do what they call pack testing. Now I'm a pack tester myself. I've got the certificate, right, and again, you have to be qualified to do that. Again, I've been doing it right back to the early days when I was working. I just think that it's a good way to give back to the community and valuable skills. Yeah, of course it does. But this is how I got into it. I started off as a volunteer, like all charities do. They're always looking for volunteers. The volunteers over the years then start saying, "Oh, what are you good at?" And I'll start saying, "I'm really good at computers." Yeah, can you back that up? Yeah, of course I can. I've got certificates. I've got all my certificates back to my CG skills back in the early 80s. So I showed them all the skills that I'm good at. And now lately, I started for the last 4 to 5 years, I started getting into doing electrics. My friend was in radiograms, and I started learning how to build radios. Things like that, from tins and making them from the ground up. You can use a breadboard. It's really dead simple to do at the end of the day. So again, I got into it on that spot, and then what happened, once I'd done that, they then wanted to give me an opportunity, saying, well, how would you like it if we put you as a charity organiser? If we give you our broken donations, whatever you can repair, you can donate back and give back to the community. And I said, I'd love to do that. I said, for 2 reasons. 1, that would make great content, and 2, the money goes back to the community. Because I said, you're saving an electric broken. I said, you've got to understand, not everything is fixable. And they understand that it's not. I said, so what don't fix one part may fix the next part, right? So you might have multiple parts in. That's why I've got multiple consoles here at the end of the day. And they've all got multiple issues, and I've sorted. Most of them I've done. Most of them I've repaired at the end of the day. Some of them had bad hard drives. Now you try and repair a bad hard drive, you can't replace them, right? You can't repair a bad hard drive, it's just broke. But you can replace it, but good luck trying to put the software back on. Because Xbox uses what they called exFAT, and you have to use a special program to put all the software back on, which I've done. So I've got them back up and running at the end of it. So the money that they get back then they, instead of selling a broken console which they are not allowed to sell because of rights. Who's going to buy a broken console? It's not going to fetch nothing. So it goes to a company called Sate. This company then buys broken electricals, but they don't care what it is, right? As long as it's broken, right? So they will buy a big massive box for about between 4 and 12 pence a box, right? Pennies. Now in amongst that electrical brokens, can you can't you do pack testing for them? Yeah, I've already done pack testing for them, but now I do this now more of a, you know, because I work from now only part time, not doing it full time. They still give me their broken stuff because I'm still part of their thing. So the money that they still give me at the moment, I don't want no more equipment. Because I've got enough to be getting on with, and I've got enough on eBay for sale to raise money for them. Until that can go down, then they can give me some more broken stuff, which they're quite happy to at the end of the day. So yeah, the money that they get from this company called Sate, they buy the broken items. Now in amongst that items, they say to me before it goes to Sate, take your pick, see what you think you can repair, and you can save us and get some extra money, because that's what it boils down to. It's a charity. And I went, okay. And in amongst them was loads of consoles. You know, there might be clock radios, there might be some other bits and pieces. It's a mixture. It might be a mixer at the end of it. But I know, because I've done this for so long now, I get to know roughly what sells and what don't sell. So the branch out is chill as long as the old person is regenerated. Yes, as long as the other person is registered as a charity. Yeah, exactly. You've got to be registered. You've got to make sure that you need to go through a director at the end of the day. Not easy to go through a director because not everyone wants to class you. You've got to make sure that your skill, because they will ask for your skill levels and your skill requirements. Mine's mainly in computers because I built, when I was back in the A days, I used to build, I worked alongside Packard Bell and I worked alongside Hewlett Packard. So I worked alongside both two tech giants at the end of the day before they went bankrupt. At the end of it. This is how I got my skills in computers. But way before that, I learnt my first computer of coding and skill levels on the BBC Micro, right back to the early 80s. That is why that BBC Micro is more dear to me than any of this stuff put together, because that's what I learned, and I built my skill levels up on that at the end of the day. And this is why most schools had the BBC Micro. About 95% had them. Yeah, the BBC, they did, because that was in parallel port with the ZX Spectrum. The BBC Micro came out before. It was Acon Electrons. They still remember them, the big red keys. Yeah, which is this one here. I'm going to show you. It's a lovely machine, apart from it. The capacitor sitting on there. What's that capacitor doing on there? So this is my BBC Micro that I modded, right? So let's put this round here and I'll show you. That piece is done, right? This is my BBC Micro. I've done some modifications to this because I know these machines inside out at the end of it. I've done some serious modding. I had a custom cover made in America. There was that. It's what I was using at school. Yeah, I grew up. So back in the late 70s, early 80s, this is what I learnt my first lot of learning how to code, because it wasn't just for games, it was also for programming and also learning for education. This is why 99% of the schools had a BBC Micro. So I got a custom BBC cover made for this, and it's a lovely cover. A lovely woman in America, she made it for me when I was out in America, and I got one physically made. But you can't buy these, you just can't buy them. And this is over 10 years old and it still looks like new because I look after all my stuff. But yeah, she made me a lovely cover to sit at the back, which then you can see it's got all the covers, so it sits right over it, gives it nice of a snug look. So on the front of this, and if I remember, that's it. So if I take this off, you've got the miraculous BBC Micro, but this is no ordinary BBC Micro. One, I retro brightened this. This is beautiful. This is right back to the early colours of the day this was really stained and coloured, nasty in yellow. We had a scratch piece right across. I polished that out. That's all been polished out. That's just dust. Oh, no, actually, that's another mark. I don't know how that's got on there. I'll have to polish that bit out because this is my baby out the lot. And also, these pieces are missing because there's normally an EEPROM chip programmer you can put on these in the place, but I don't want to touch this one. I want to leave it as stock, as much as stock as possible. But this has been partly modified. A nice big chunky cherry keys on that front. I'll flip it over. And then I've also, thanks to picorc.com, they sent me over free of charge on this front. They put me in, they sent me a custom chip for the BBC Micro. Didn't charge me because I actually repaired one of their machines free of charge. So they sent me a custom chip for the BBC Micro, which you can't buy. Not for this. There is custom chips you can buy, but not for this specific one. At the end of the day, this is not the master. This is the basic BBC Micro Model B, not the A. At the end of the day, so again, got all your custom ports. The only downside is I took the power supply out, right? Which I've got the power supply down here. When I bought this and plugged this in, this went bang, right? The first thing it done was went bang. The magic smoke come out and it stunk. It absolutely flooded the room out. I wondered it. Lucky enough, it only tripped me. It didn't trip the cupboard because I've got my protection box up here, so it tripped that, which that's the genuine idea of it. So I knew exactly before I even opened that. I know exactly what happened because it's a common fault, and these have 100% failure rate. And the common failure rate on these, yeah, it wasn't an ordinary capacitor. It was what they call it wasn't a ceramic capacitor, it was a glass capacitor on that one, and they are known on the power supplies to go bang, and they go every single time at the end of the day. So these glass capacitors, they just always pop, but this won't never have the problem again, because now I've done a mod. I've now modded it. This now runs on a micro USB type C connector, and I can run this on literally anything. I can run that on a power bank. You don't need 240 volts. I can run this on 5 volts, literally 5 volts, and it fully works on 5 volts at the end of the day. But if you look closely, this one, if you look underneath here, this one I've put a mod in, right, and there's a ribbon running on this, running on the user port, right? Basically this user port, right, is a little custom chip that I've put in, and there's no switches. You can clearly see there's no switches on here. I ain't got done anything. It looks all stock, right? That custom chip now runs, if I hold a certain key configuration down, I can now brings up every single game that the BBC Micro has. There's demos on there. There's thousands of stuff on that custom chip, and that was the lovely company at Pico that they made, the company that made this, that made me that chip. I had the gadget because I created a breadboard, and I've got part of the breadboard kit. It's out in the kitchen, and I'll show you the part of the breadboard kit that I've done, and it's really simple. This is when I was trying to suggest to you to do a stereo that you was looking at. Yes, I know what you mean. Exactly. In amongst some of the stuff, the wonderful stuff that the hospice give me, which they did give me some really nice stuff, in amongst it was all this that they give me. Now this is all to do with the BBC Micro, right? At the end of the day, this all come in. This was all going to be thrown in the bin, literally. This is what they call a custom. This is for the bit commander, right? So again, this is an interface that you plug in at the back, and you can use this as a testing port, basically. So you can then, you've got on and off, and it comes with a load of bits, basically. And I still haven't gone through all this yet. Because I mean, they said to me, is this any good to you? I went, yeah, use that. Python coding for the BBC Micro, right? At the end of the day, it's got it on there. Python for the BBC Micro bit. And it tells you how to make all micro boards. It's all stuff. Is studio software. I've got, it's loads, right? This is only some of it, right? They give me a box with all these bits in, which, again, all to do with, I mean, these are all to do with the BBC Micro. So there's nano boards in here, colour resistors, there's connectors, there's picos. These are custom ROM chips at the end of the day. That's that. Hi, buddy. So yeah, so it come with all of these bits. But in amongst it, in amongst this lot, was a custom, it was a custom Pico board, right? That's a micro bit. So basically you can do some coding. Did you finish the arcade set? No, because I'm still doing it, which is, just showing someone in there, I've just finished this section. So I still ain't finished, but I'm near enough done this part here. That's what I said, just showing off the BBC Micro. So yeah, in amongst this part, was a Raspberry Pi Pico, right? It was only like, but it was in bits in breadboard. So what I'd done, the chip was already on there, right? My friend had an EEPROM reader. He wrote the code. I give him the code, which I downloaded the code. If you go to the Discord, there's on the Discord forum, which I've got on my PC. There's a Discord forum for BBC Micros, right? And there's a bit of code on there. It's free to download, and what it does, that code then generates, you need an EEPROM reader, because you can't do it without an EEPROM reader. You buy a blank chip. I had some blank chips. I've used them all up because they're now all in here at the end of the day. I think I've got a couple. I think I've got a couple of, I might have 1 or 2 chips left. And basically they're an 18-pin blank chip, basically. Put it on an EEPROM reader, write the code with the reader itself. Once it goes on there, it goes on the Pico. The Pico then talks to the BBC Micro. Now all I needed to do was put MMC, which is a small piece of code of this MMC, so the reader could then pick up. And on that, I just dump the ROM files straight onto an SD card, and you leave them on there. You don't take them off, you just leave them on there. The Pico then, because it only uses 3 volts, between 1.5 and 3 volts, which these chips pick up between 1.5 and 3, it read the reader. And now, if I hold the keys in a certain command, I'm pretty sure it's Shift X and brake. You hold it back, it brings up a separate menu, and then you go into that menu, and there's every list of games, demos, and that's what I wanted to buy this for. This is what I wanted to do, so I can do a custom show on the thing. This is why I was going to do a retro channel, but I'm too busy. I'm doing bits for the. I'm still doing bits. For the hospice, and plus I'm doing my bits as well, and I haven't got round to bloody doing it yet, but that's how it works. But you need something like that to ROM. But they was going to throw all these bits away, and he said, I know one person who's got all these BBC Micro stuff, you know, we'll chill like them, and I went, yeah, I'll have them. I said, I'll have use for them, and guess what, I did. I have got use for them, and that's exactly it. But that is now. But the good thing is, I've now modded it. So now, I won't have that issue about that power supply ever blowing up again at the end of the day. So now it's a micro USB type C. And that come off eBay, right? That come off eBay and it was £36. But you have to do a modification inside. You can't just plug and play. What you have to do, you have to bridge certain points on the board for that power supply to be picked up, otherwise it won't work. A man in the right place. Yeah, totally agree. So yeah, that is my BBC Micro, and she looks lovely. The best one I've seen by far is this one. I've had a few Micros, and they've never looked like this. and I love this Jill. It's great. Totally agree. But yeah, the Commodore 64, I brought that back to life. That had a bad SID chip. I had to get that tested. Sent the board away, and it had a bad SID chip because I haven't got a SID chip. You need you need testers. And the trouble with a lot of this vintage stuff, I've also got a couple of Spectrums there, Spectrum Pluses at the end, and they're really lovely. I bought a mod. I've got one working. One was working. Now it's not working. But I think one of the chips have gone down, and I need a tester to actually find which chip's gone down at the end of the day. So I've got a black screen, so that indicates straight to me bad RAM, or it could be one of the potential the ARM chips that's gone down inside it. But it's like all this stuff. This stuff's vintage. It's going to go bad at some point. What do you think of the Vectrex? That is what I wanted to originally get. Again, from 1984, would have looked great. But they just fetched too much money because it uses the vector type graphics. It's the monitors. They tend to have bad monitors on these Vectrexes. Now, there is a company that very shortly that are bringing out, again, they're based in America, they're doing a Vectrex Mini, but you've got to put them in the backers, so you have to pay for the back group to actually get, and then they might give you like permission to say you can purchase one of our items at the end of the day. I'm going to roll up a bit, I'm going to have a look, because they've only just come out. I can put a link in the Discord. The mini ones now, I've seen them, but again, they're not exactly cheap at the end of it. But that is probably the reasons why, because there's so many limited versions, and that's the same with the Zippy drive. What I've done with the when I ordered the Zippy drive, this Zippy drive one, I ripped the cable. If you remember, for the GameCube, I tried putting this in because this was a simple mod to do. It keeps its stock, but you don't have to. It still works with the CD, but unfortunately I ripped the cable. I'm still waiting for the cable. It's now going to take me over a month to get me a cable for the Zippy drive. Again, you can't buy these. You can only go buy on the backers, and you need to go on the and then back them up to get access to then buy the product on that front. And that's what that is, because again, eBay don't sell them. The companies in there, and that took me 6 months to order that. So yeah, not exactly cheap, and that ended up costing me over £100. So it was about $100. It was about $140 in total, but it worked out about over £100. And then what did I do? I was trying to be careful, like I always have been with all my stuff, and I bloody ripped the cable, didn't I? So you know, it's gutted. Because that cable was so thin, I said to you in the stream, oh, I bet this bloody cable's going to snap or rip. No, I should have kept my big gob shut because I ripped it, and that's exactly what I've done. So, prime example. But it's like the laptops. They give me a stack of laptops over there. I sold 2, raised £70 for one and £110 for the other. That went off to Dogs Trust. So yeah, I got a thank you for them, and they said if you ever want to sponsor a dog, I went, sponsor a dog? I went, you got to be joking. I went, I've got that bloody big beast behind me, and he's a rescue. And I went, you know, and he's a right handful, that lad, I tell you. So I went, no, it's all right. No more sponsorships. That's why my phone's always pinging. People always saying, "Oh, do you want to sponsor us? We can give you." No, I've got enough from the hospice. I'll get enough from them. So I went, no, I'm all right. I said, I've got my work cut out as it is. I don't want any more. Bloody hell. So yeah, on the next episode then, right, I'm going to be working on number 10. So we are gradually getting there. There's 14 bags in total. So the next episode is going to be, I'm going to have a cup of tea. I'm going to have a pot noodle, right? Yeah, you talk about pot noodles, right? This is why I love working with the hospice. Guess what they give me? me these. They bought me these yesterday. They said, "Yeah, John, thank you for what you've done." They give me a pack of pot noodles of 12, absolutely free at the end of the day. So they said, "Yeah, you can have them." We don't. They said, "All for the work you've done," to say thank you at the end of it. So that was nice of them. Didn't expect that at the end of it. No. So yeah, I was actually, I was really grateful for what they'd done there on that front. So I thought, no. So they give me a big pack of fucking 12 pot noodles. So I'll have one of them for the next part of this stream. I've got to have something to eat because bloody this light feels like I've been under interrogation. It's why my front room's upside down. You know, at the end of the day. And they've always offered me to go to like do's and things like that, but I'm just too busy. You know, my days get taken up. I mean, as it is, because I only work literally round the corner from where the hospice is. You know, and they normally say, you know, most of the time I'm taking bits back to them because I've repaired them, and I said to them, you know, it's all done. And what they normally do, some of the bits that I take back, they take it to their eBay department. But 9 out of 10, I end up just slinging it on eBay and sell it and give them, and I send them a nice cheque because the money goes into a trustee. So the money that when I get paid from eBay, the money then gets transferred, goes into, it don't go into my account, it goes into a trustee account, and that trustee then goes to the charities that I set. So you know, I have to go on my computer and set what charities and how much do I want to give each charity at the end of the day. But the trustee takes care of all that. I'll just tell them what charities I want it to go to, and they distribute it out. I don't want the money going, any money that I earn, I don't want it going all to one charity. I think that's unfair. All charities all deserve great rights, and there's some really great charities. The Donkey Sanctuary, Dogs Trust, because I see how the dogs get treated. They do need help as much as well. The RSPCA, it's like I said, cancer research. There's, like I said, there is loads. It's about a dozen that all my money that I get transferred goes to all them charities. Now, it depends how much I earn on the items I sell. I don't go too mad, but I'm reasonable with my prices, and I think it does go to a really good cause, and I get good content out of it. Not only do I get good content, but it also helps the charities out at the same time at the end of the day. So I think it's really cool, and this is the reasons why I love doing what I'm doing. And there's not, I'm not saying I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but I don't think there's no one else on the internet, on YouTube, that actually do what I do at the end of the day. They don't work like that. Luke at Retro 6 works for himself. He's got a business, so he pours all his time and resources into his business, and he's got his own business. He does that on the side. But to me, people say, "You're mad. Why are you doing all that?" Well, for two reasons why I'm doing it. It makes me great content, and I can pat myself on the shoulder. Actually, I'm doing a good deed at the same time. So, but they also give me the opportunity, if I want to keep it, they just ask me to make a small donation. Well, that's fair enough. At the end of the day, they're not going to say to it, right, everything you sell, we want 100% all the proceeds. They just say, if you're interested in that item, let us know in an email. They then come back, they said, that's fine, but you just need to make a small donation. I'm more than happy of doing that. I'm giving up my time, and they still end up getting something. So, but 9 out of 10, no, I don't want nothing. I've got enough of my own stuff as it is. I just don't need half of this. I've got all my equipment I've got. I've virtually just paid all that in my own money. So at the end of the day, I've just saved up and bought it. You know, and it's some beautiful bits. All my gear is it's all like mid-80s at the end of the day, and it is. Like my Pioneer stacking system, you're not going to get that because the amplifier alone's worth over $1,000 at the end of the day, and it's got beautiful sound, and it's like my big speakers. And I do want to do my Colesborough, because it powers them big amplifier speakers that I've got over there, and they're 500 watts each, and that's an incredibly loud system. When I've done the disco, I got told to turn it down even at number 2, you know. But the pots have started to stick because it's not being used and they've never been serviced. But I won't muck about. I ain't going to service it. I'm just going to desolder it, put brand new pots on. So I do really want to store that at some point in its life. But that will be a video again by itself. But at the moment, I want to get this linear record player up and running, because that's why I bought it. I mean, for £70, I think it was a great buy, because we don't get stuff like that come in the hospice. You won't get things like that. So that's a specialist item. Like all my stuff is specialist gear. At the end of it, it's like the BBC Micro. I had to buy that at the end of the day. That thing, you won't get stuff like. You'll get consoles come in all day long. Xbox 360s, we get them in all the time, literally in all the time. But after time, bits are missing. We can't sell it, so they end up just passing it over to me. So I ain't bothered if it's not working, because I strip it down, and then I can salvage one bit out from another. So I can end up making one good out of, you know, maybe two. You know, because 9 out of 10 the drives go. But now I've started getting into customisations. So I've got one Xbox I've put on there, the original Xbox One, the original first one. I've got one of them up for sale at the moment for £70, and I put a custom firmware on it, on the chip, and it's now you can play all, you know, all third party stuff. Great, it's great for 70 quid, and you've got a little bit of homebrew stuff that you can put on at the end of it, and it works lovely. I serviced it, put all brand new caps in, so someone to get a bargain for 70 quid, you know, at the end of the day. So yeah, that's up for sale. That's on eBay at the moment. My crystal one, I'm not selling that, because I'm keeping that crystal. Someone said to me, "You selling your crystal?" And I went, "No, because that's been microchipped." So that's got an Executor 1 microchip chip in it, and that's got all third-party stuff. So, you know, I've got emulations on there, PS2, PS3, PS Vita. Oh God, I'd hate to think. I'll have to do a video on it on its own, but it's mental. Absolutely, it's packed, and I'm still adding games to it at the end of the day. So, and I've got, that's without all my games I've got next door. They keep giving me bloody games. I've got loads of PS2 stuff. I want to do a PS2 mod. So that's going to be a future. This is what I said, really, my channel really is a retro channel. It's more of a retro channel more than anything. But I do repairs on there, on that front. But I need to do a mod on the PlayStation 2 where I want to put a hard drive in. I've got a hard drive caddy. That's going to be a future mod that I do want to do. Keep it stock, but also run some custom firmware so it can play custom stuff as well, which I can do. But I haven't got round to it yet. I've got plenty of drives. I've got the drive caddy. I just ain't got round to doing it. But that takes some time, because you need to download certain software, and you need the capture software to show you, and I'll show you the process of what it takes. It takes roughly around about 5-6 hours fully done. You know, you're not going to do it in an hour or two. It's just not possible. But yeah, Xbox 360s. I've got a stack of them there. Of the Xbox 360s, I think I've got them all, right up to the Winchester models at the end of the day, and they're all up for sale. I ain't put one. I've put one on there. I think I've got two. I might have two for sale, but the others, they've all been modded, and they will go probably for roughly around about 120 quid. But they've got custom chips inside them, so they will run anything. So you can have a nice big hard drive in them. Then you can run all the emulations. And I've got 4 of them, so I'll keep one for myself and sell the other 3. So the money will go to charity, like always. But they'll be about 120, and they are cool. They are really cool, and I've got them stacked. They're all sitting over there, and I'll show you. This is what I said. Now I've got capture card. I can show you what they're like and what's for sale, and you know what they can do. So I've put a lot of custom firmware on it, but I just needed it done with the chips, because that's a specific thing on that blunt. So they are done. So 4 of them are now up for sale. Well, 3 up sale. I've got one for, keep one for myself on that front. So yeah, the next build that will be on here will be bag 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the stream like I do with all my bits on this front, and then the next, I'm going to come back in about 10 minutes, right? I'm going to have a quick bite to eat, go to the carsy, have a quick wash up, wash them, and then I need to crack on. I need to get this done as soon as possible, but I wanted to do it in stages, because it does make sense to do it in stages on that front, just in case you want to come back to it. But yeah, Really cool design. So far, I love this blue. It really pops with the black, jet black. It really stands out. It really starts to look like the, of the front of the looking of the characters. I can't grip that at the back. It's not very grippy. Oh, we are. That's the front. There you go. So look, you can actually see the character moving around, and it looks really cool. And in the front on this one, you can see that one going around as well. So yeah. So the time, these are all linked. So when you move this one, that one will move at the same time as that one. So this is what this complex of the gears will probably, once we finish this, that will be the next probably part. And then once that's done, then we need to, then they can crack on with the next part, moving on from the front. So yeah, that's what this next part looks like. It's now making the part of the mechanism for the middle part there as well, and that's what it looks like to me. So yeah, we still got, that's going to be in bag 10. I think there's 2 bags or 3 bags for bag 10. So yeah, looks going to look good when it's all done. That's what I said. Painstakingly slow, but blimey, that's why I want to do the decals. That'll give its finishing sort of like Commander. But I'm going to come back to that front anyway. But yeah, thanks guys. Give me about 10 to 20, about 10 to 15 minutes. I'm going to eat my sandwiches, have a bite to eat, and have a quick cuppa, and then I'm going to come back and do part 10. So if you want to join us, by all means. If not, don't worry, I'll see you next time at the end of the day. But I want to crack on, do these parts, because then I can say thank God for this is done. And then I can move on to another part. Hopefully by then, I can then get something sorted out with that tape deck, because that record player, because I really want to get that up and running 100%. So that's going to be a cool thing to do. But if I have to do a mod on it, then I'll have to do a mod and do what I've done with the other one, which would be a shame, but I want to confirm it first before. I don't want to go ahead and just saying, yeah, you're right, so it's worth the £20 to me, to let the old boy to have a look at it, because he's really good at knowing what he does. So I'm quite grateful. I'll just drop it off to him, and then he'll take a day or two, and he'll say, yeah, you're right, transformer's gone, it's partly gone, it's causing you a problem. And then I know 100%, then he's sorted that. Or it could just be something else on the board, but I doubt it, because I've got no 20 volts coming out of that red wire. And if I've got no 20 volts coming out, I don't think something else has gone on the board. I think it looks like that transformer's gone, which is such a shame. But we'll wait and see. But, Alright guys, I'll see you very soon in the next episode of part 10 of the arcade Lego. So, which is going to be cool. See you soon. Thanks guys.